that certificate is missing presently because his home was invaded by the military during the 1993 saga. That is the information we have, presently. And then there's an affidavit for the fact. Now the contention is this: is he qualified to run for the office of the presidency, going by what he has presented? Of course, if you look at the precedent that was established by the Supreme Court in the current president's case, it was an affidavit also that was used, and he said that he missed his papers, and then they were taken away or seized by the military, and the Supreme Court upheld that fact that so far he has said it in the affidavit that these are what he has obtained, that qualifies him to be the president of the country academically. And so I'm sure that Bola Tinubu also may have known that precedent and has also probably followed that particular path in swearing to an affidavit. But what we are not too sure is whether it is true he said that he did not attend primary school, that he did not attend secondary school. I don't know how true that is, but that he is a graduate of a university. You can never be a graduate of a university without passing through the secondary school. So what papers did he use for admission into university? So these are issues that need to be clear. As to whether he can be regarded as qualified to run for the office of the president academically, the section that gives that position is so elastic that if we look at it critically, I can assure you that based upon the experience, based upon his exposure in life, and the offices that held previously, I can assure you that I regard him as qualified to run, because there is a particular section that says, or any other qualification that is acceptable by INEC, or any other qualification. After saying that the standard is that at least a school certificate, that secondary school. Mm-hmm. He also gave an elastic meaning that any other certificate, including primary school, if you have first school leaving certificate and have worked in public service for at least 10 years, and then can write and speak English, you are qualified to run for the office of president or school cert. Even attempted when you have not even gotten the certificate, you are qualified. Then the last is that any other certificate that is acceptable to INEC. And so with whatever he says he has now, or whatever he has sworn to an affidavit, if it is okay with the INEC, that really will suffice for his academic qualification to run for the office of the presidency.
Interesting. Let me come to you, Benga. Now, there was a House of Assembly probe in 1999, if I'm not mistaken. There was a committee that invited people who had petitioned the then governor of Lagos State on the same issue. I mean, they said that some of the errors within his submission to INEC raised eyebrows. Now, those petitioners were, according to reports, were asked to show up to the assembly to address the issue. Now, when they found the names of these people, went to the addresses, they found out that those addresses were fake. They didn't even turn up at the end of the day to defend these petitions. But then the probe committee had said that the former governor appeared before them on the 23rd of September 1999 alongside his counsel, then counsel Femi Falana. According to that report of the committee, Tinubu took full responsibility for some needless errors, which he said formed the basis of the allegations against him. But now we're here again. It seems for some people a deja vu moment, because we seem to have been here before with President Buhari and the imbroglio about his certificate or his qualifications for running for this office. And I'm wondering, why do we always find ourselves in this situation? Or is it just part of the politicking process? Linga, can you hear me? Benga, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, I was saying that it is a part of the politics, because whether you like it, there's always going to be a system to pull your opponent down, especially at this time of the political era, where people are trying to stop themselves for different. And Ahmed Tinubu has been in the news since 1999, you can recall, when his education or academics was being questioned with Chicago and what have you. But then it established that, yes, he did attended the University of Chicago, and that's no longer in doubt. But what was still in doubt, or is still in doubt as of today, is that as at that time, the late Ganifa did start a petition against Tinubu as per his academics and educational background, and as per the fact that he did swore to an affidavit from which Tinubu himself later admit that, okay, some of these depositions were not true. But as at that time, the panel did not, it just stopped there and everything ended that way. That is what is being brought up. As at that time, in 1999, Tinubu was being called upon to answer to some questions. Halfway, everything was how will I put it now? Everything stopped. The probe did not continue. Now, as to the eligibility of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as per his and perjury allegations against him, just like my Barrister Obani said, I think legally that there's nothing or at this front stopping him academically, because what the case is that needs minimum full cert, no, not primary school certificate. That's all that he needs. That's the minimum. Primary school certificate. That's it. So if a child is able to produce a certificate from Chicago, then it's all good. It's good to go. So to me, the issue of certificate forgery and to contest as presidential candidate for APC should not be in doubt. I'm not a fan of APC. I belong to another political party, the Democratic Party. I'm a candidate representing Ondo West and East in my own local government, trying to go into the House of Representatives. But I wouldn't say because of politics, then I should ignore the law. Okay. The law is the law. And as far as I am concerned, as far as the law is concerned, I do not think that Tinubu is not eligible to contest election. Okay. And all this clamor of forgery and all of that, to me, like you said, is just the politics. Okay. Let's just contest. All of these are distractions here and there to me, which is expected. All right.
Let me go back to Barrister Obani. Barrister Obani, there has been protests in front of his campaign office. CSOs are asking the Inspector General of Police to arrest him over certificate forgery. And that's why I started by asking, is there really a grounds? And if they were to go to court, what evidence would they need to present to actually call this an outright case of forgery? Do they even have a case here? I'm wondering.
The position is that I'm not hearing you at all. I don't know what's wrong with the volume of your television. The guy, I'm not hearing whatever. You know, there is issue with.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you better. I don't know why they didn't do it better than this, like this way. I'm hearing you now.
Oh, great.
What was the question?
Okay, so I'm asking the CSOs that have been protesting in front of the Tinubu campaign office, who are asking the IGP to arrest him for forgery. I'm asking, if this were to be taken to court, do they have a case? And what would they need to present to make this an outright case of forgery? Do they have a case here?
When you allege forgery, there's a difference between forgery and public false declaration. They are mixing both of them up. What is going on presently, as I said earlier, we read it in the papers, is that he said he did not attend primary school and secondary school. That is what I read. I don't know how true that is. But if you remember that previously that Bola Tinubu has contested election before, he has been a senator, has also been a governor for 8 solid years. And we also know that he has mentioned secondary school in Ibadan, where he attended secondary school. He has also mentioned a primary school he attended here in Nigeria. So if he had stated also under oath that these are the schools he attended, primary school and secondary school previously, and he's now saying in a new declaration on 2022 that he never attended primary school and secondary school, they may be now saying that that's forgery. I don't think that's forgery. It's issue of maybe perjury, if it is true that he said it before and he's now saying he did not attend any of those schools, then there is issue. Now, the point is this. We are going for 2023 general election, and many issues will come up. And knowing the president that is coming to take over the rulership of this country, he has to come clean. Did you attend secondary school? Yes, no. Did you attend primary school? Yes, no. Did you go to university? Yes, no. If you did, where are the certificates and all that? I mean, it's as simple as that, because we did it also. We asked those questions with regard to Buhari. Remember, there was even up to Supreme Court until finally Abu Dhabi was accepted in lieu of certificate. So it's going to be an issue also for Bola Tinubu. But as I said earlier, as for whether he is qualified, the constitution is so elastic that based upon what he has even achieved so far in life, and based on what he say he has now, they may likely consider it as sufficient. But people are going to play politics out of his qualification because of not being straight. Because that is also very important. Because if you say, I went to primary school, secondary school, and all that, you should be able to tell them which name of those schools and what year. These are simple questions that should be answered. But the moment you're not clear you're not showing clarity in addressing those issues, people are going to make a mountain out of it. And it's an unfortunate incident, because that's how we play politics here. And he should be able to brace it up. He should be able to probably also be in a position to answer certain basic questions. Did you go to secondary school at all? Did you go to primary school? And if you did, what are the names of those? And what year did you graduate? So these are issues that will keep on cropping up. But as for whether you will be qualified, academically, I can assure you at the end of the entire day, INEC will accept him as having scaled the hurdle of academic qualification. But there's all that issue of not being clear in the presentation of his papers is going to create some level of discussion and brouhaha over time on television and on radio and all over the place, even in newspaper for a long time until after the election.
I just want to push you further. You said something about him answering all of these things under oath. I'm curious, have there been people who have made these kinds of, statements under oath, but then did not necessarily have the facts to back it up? For example, in this kind of case, where, a former governor is running for an office and then he says, well, I went to so-and-so school. And there are people on social media, including a certain Femi Aribisala, who said he went to that primary school that the former governor said he went to, and he was there that year, and he does not remember the former governor being in that school, and he feels that he is lying. But that's one person's opinion. So has there been cases where something like this has happened and the person had perjured himself, even though he was talking under oath?
We have had several cases, and I tell you this. We pursued one up to Supreme Court. I'm talking about Abia State election that took place in 2015. I was one of the counsels, in that case. I was with Uchoga, who pursued the issue of tax, because the declaration that was made in the form that was submitted was clearly a lie. He told a lie on himself, and we pursued it. And at the end, the Supreme Court said that it's a non-issue. So I don't know whether all these things now that has been said before, and then now recounting that he did not attend secondary school and primary school. That's what I'm saying. I don't know whether he said that in the present paper he filled. If he filled the present paper and say he never attended any primary and secondary school, it's an issue, because in the previous papers he did mention even secondary school. He has mentioned primary school he attended. So why is he now saying that he did not attend one? So it can be an issue, but as to whether the court will be bold enough to indict him and say he has made the false declaration, I doubt it, because his affidavit is regarded as sufficient evidence based upon precedent. See what happened with President Buhari's case. It was like that. President Buhari's certificate did he produce it? Where is it? It's lost. It's not lost. Sometimes papers were flying all over the place. There was another one where he had to certify, and several things that came up. At the end, it was ordinary affidavit that was actually admitted as his qualification to run for the office of the president. So I doubt whether this one will be an exception. So if we make all the entire noise, and at the end, I can assure you that the president has been established by the Supreme Court. He's not going to go anywhere. And even the issue of prosecution, they are alleging forgery. There's a difference between false declaration and forgery. I don't think that he has brought any paper in which he has forged any document. No, that cannot be. That means they are making a mistake. There is no paper now he has presented where it is said he has forged a paper. The only thing he has said now, I did not attend primary school, I did not attend secondary school. So if he has said it before that he did, and now saying he did not, that can be regarded as false declaration, but not forgery, certainly not forgery.
All right. Let me come to you, Akibuli Ebenezer. It's very interesting in 2022 that we're still having this conversation. And there have been people who have said that we should maybe upgrade the qualifications for a president, someone who's running the country, as opposed to what we have now in the Constitution. But my question is, have we as a country grown to a position where, or a point where we can now say, well, we don't want first school living certificate holders to run our country, and we now want people who, for example, let's say diploma holders, or maybe an SSC holder, as opposed to what we have? Ebenezer, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I'm saying, have we grown to a point in the country where we can now decide that we no longer want to have first school living certificate holders run our country as president? Have we grown to the point? Or can we even say that we're able to change that part of the Constitution anytime soon for an upgrade?
Yeah, to me, for now, that's the law, and we are just going to remain with the law until it's needed. So, as it is now, the provision of the law that to contest election, the certificate you need is your primary school living certificate. That is the law as of, and nothing will change that. And really, I wouldn't think that we are prepared to go through that process of amending the ground norm, the Constitution, to that effect. All we can do is exercise and maybe good to really contest for the highest office in the country. Then you should be skilled. You don't just bring up someone that will just present minimum school living certificate. We can argue and debate that, but until it is the law, nothing can be done about that. So I, as a lawyer, that have studied up to the PhD level, I decide when I want to contest election to just bring a primary school living certificate, and that's the law. Nobody would hold me for that. So until that is changed, we are going to live with it.
Okay. Barrister Obani, a follow-up question on that particular issue. What would need to happen for us to be able to get to the point, and what would change?
I'm not hearing you again. I'm not hearing you again. Actually,
can you hear me now?
To really adjust the addition.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. I don't know why I'm hearing you better. After some time, the thing goes deep.
Apologies. 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 So my question is, what change will it bring if we were to decide that we want to change that aspect of the Constitution, being that you need a certain level of not just experience, but education to lead a country as vast and diverse as Nigeria? Will we ever get to that point? And what change will it bring to the way that we run our affairs in this country?
I can assure you that it's very embarrassing that in 21st century, we are talking about having a president of the country having only first school living certificate or even primary school certificate. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment in 21st century where you run a complex economy that requires basic university education for you to even understand the workings of the economy and know how to run a complex economic country that will be highly beneficial. And you're talking about somebody having primary school. Now, if we did it at the time, because of the fact that there are certain sections in the country that will want them to participate because of their low level of education and all that, things have changed. We have graduates now all over the states of the Federation. The Northerners have actually caught up. We have so many graduates, both polytechnics and the universities and colleges of education, who are many in all these states. And so, why would we want to stick to that method of allowing primary school to come and run as a president of Nigeria in the 21st century? That in a country of 200 million, that is embarrassment. It's a huge embarrassment and it's disgraceful. But I think there has been an amendment, in the ongoing constitutional amendment, in which they have even elevated, I think, the other OND level, that for you to run for the office of governor, and you have to have, I think, OND or HND. I think there was a publication to that effect. They are trying to really remove that disgraceful requirement that it has to be primary school or secondary school at least, and all that. They have elevated it. And I think it has so many advantages. And you see, we're in a complex country, and in this 21st century. At least the minimum we will expect any of our president or governors to have is first degree certificate, at least minimum. Not for you, to say you have primary school or experience and you want to come and run a complex economy like that of Nigeria in 21st century. It's an embarrassment. It's a huge embarrassment. I think that amendment has been effected, and I know when we now do the fifth alteration or sixth, is going to accommodate this issue of the review of academic qualification for the office of presidency and all the offices generally. That is what I think. And it has many advantages, actually.
Well, we look forward to when those changes are made, but I want to say thank you. Barrister Monday Ubani is the NBA President Section of Public Interest and Development Law. And, of course, Akimbuli Ebenezer is also a legal practitioner. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for staying with us. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we will discuss obtaining guns for self-defense in Zamfara State. Well, it's going to be an interesting conversation. Stay with us.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam, you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, PlusTvAfrica, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
It's not just the parents that have to do this. We put a lot of emphasis on government, we put a lot of emphasis on schools, but the service sector is completely left out of this conversation, and it's really important because they touch the families every day.
When we are making intervention, at the back of our mind, that plan that you're drawing up should also say on X amount of times or hours, you as the parents have to have X number of training.
Not just about the training, okay? So as we're collecting data in the center, you're collecting data at home. We give you the exact same plan.
From my own experience is that the children are usually the best advocates.
Absolutely.
Because the children have been informed and they have also experienced it, we find that they tend to go home and tell their parents the appropriate things to do.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style, 6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
You see, the greatest robbery of this election, Marianne, is the fact that it has been, because of the misrule of President Muhammadu Buhari, it has become an ethnic issue rather than an economic issue, rather than an issue of saving our education sector, rather than the insecurity in the Northeast and in all parts of the North. Now everybody is more concerned about where the president comes from than what the president can do, because everybody has seen the marginalization, the ethnicentrism that has been at play under the APC.
There is a northern president that will be completing 8 years in 2023. And let me restate that the presidency is not of the party. The presidency is the president of the country. So whether it is APC or whether it is PDP or whether it is any other party, he is the president of Nigeria, not the president of the party. And for us, and I speak on behalf of Afeni Ferret, Oanese Indigo, Sandel, and the Middle Belt Forum, under the auspices of Southern and Middle Belt leaders. And I'm restating the position of that forum, that any political party in Nigeria, any of the major political parties, there are political parties that we know that are motion parties, any of the major political parties, particularly APC and PDP, that choose the other candidate will not have our support. And it's a statement of fact.
Journalism in Nigeria is an all-commerce affair. Why is it an all-commerce affair? It's only in journalism where you see somebody who read an engineering course or maybe a medical course, practicing as either a broadcaster or a reporter, doing stories. Somebody who probably read psychology in school, So there is the lack of, what should I say, standardization, So all of these.
The Zamfara state government has directed individuals to prepare and obtain guns to defend themselves against the bandits that have occupied almost all parts of the state. It has also directed the State Police Commissioner, Mr. Ayuba El-Kana, to issue licenses to residents of the state who are qualified to use guns for self-defense. Now, the governor said no stone will be left unturned in order to eliminate all the terrorists terrorizing the state. Now, joining us to discuss this is former Assistant Director of the DSS, Mr. Dennis Amakri. Mr. Amakri, it's good to have you join us.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. This is not the first time in the history of us fighting terrorism that we've gotten to hear someone high up there tell us to defend ourselves. I remember sometime last year, I think you and I had this conversation when the Chief of Defense Staff said that, why are we cowardly? Why can't we rise up and defend ourselves? And for me, I'm wondering, I have no tactical training. I have no weapons training whatsoever. How are we supposed to defend ourselves against a group of terrorists that have maybe even better weapons as opposed to what we might have or whatever we might have licenses to? But help us understand why a governor will take this position, first things.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think the governor was overwhelmed with the problems, the security problem that is happening in the state. So it is very sad that it's asking people to now defend themselves. I think one important thing we have to note there is that the insecurity problem has risen to such a level that people are now so frustrated and they wanted to get some kind of other help. So
We've seen governments try their best in dealing with these pockets of violence. We've seen the Amotekuns of this world. We've seen all kinds of paramilitary organizations, sometimes just vigilante, put together, and sometimes even armed, sometimes not armed, to deal with these issues. But they seem to not necessarily be able to deal with the issue. So I ask you as a security person, why did you choose the word overwhelm? Yes, it is overwhelming if you watch your people die helplessly every day, and security operatives also fall in the line of, duty, and you're unable to do anything. What do you think is at the core of this? Why is this overwhelming situation where it is right now? And is it something that we should also give up hope on, because the Zamfara State issue has been lingering for several months? What exactly do you think we need to do? Because every time I feel like we're having deja vu conversations, we keep saying, what needs to be done? What needs to be done? But
yes.
I listened to a conversation last week, if I'm not mistaken, about how many trillions of naira has been voted into security. But then we literally are yet to see, the after effect. All we still hear is the number of people that are dying. So help us understand, what exactly are we not doing that needs to be done?
I personally think that we are not addressing this problem from the root. We have to address the root causes. Because without addressing those root causes, the problem persists. Same thing in Kaduna, same thing in Zamfara, same thing, in fact, in the whole Northwest, where you have people kidnapping and saying they don't want money, they know the government knows what they want, and we keep on going round and round it. I think these state governors know exactly what is the problem. And if they can address those problems, then we are home free.
I hear lots of probabilities here, and I'm guessing, I'm not in any way trying to be a crusader for the people of Zamfara or the Northwest, but these are conversations that have to be had. We keep saying if a governor is saying that we should pick up guns, go to the commissioner, go through step 1, 2, 3, and 4 to get a licensed weapon. What is the downside, and what's the guarantee that these guns will not be turned on ourselves? One. There are also those who are of the narrative. The reason why we have these terrorists in the first instance is that those guns got into their hands through politicians. And that's why we have what we have today. What is the guarantee that giving guns to more people will not aggravate the situation? Again, Why are we making this a back burner issue as opposed to it being drummed up every single day? And I'm talking about we, inclusive of the media and security agencies.
Yes. You are very right on point there. Because you see, what we are dealing with is that this problem has persisted for so many years, more than 10 years now. And then we keep on putting whitewash on it. We don't want to solve the problem. Because you find out that, okay, we have a very serious issue in our hand, and the security agencies are not empowered to actually go ahead and deal with it.
How do you mean? How do you mean they're not empowered? Trillions of naira are voted to security every year.
Yes. How many military people, the whole of Army, Navy, Air Force, put together are not up to 1 million? Okay? Including the DSS, police. Police is just about 300 and something people, you know? And now we're a country of 200,000. How do you police or provide security for a very large mass like that? People have brought out solutions of how do we solve this. Create state police. People are scared. The politicians are scared because they believe that they can always misuse the police or the security agencies. You know, you don't have to do that. Just create these agencies to take care of the law enforcement. Police is for law enforcement. You know, so if you allow the police to do their law enforcement, they will enforce the state laws, the local government laws, the federal laws, not the laws of the politicians or the laws of the party. So this is the problem we're having. Because the politicians could, you know, play ostrich by hiding their head and say, oh, we, you know, this is happening, defend yourself, you know, but how far are you empowering them? The Zamfara governor wants to buy he wants to buy arms for 500 people. He's not going to buy pistol, he's going to buy AK-47 or better for the kinds of people that they are going to fight. One AK-47 is more than 500,000 naira. And then that kind of money that you are prepared to spend now, why don't you use it to strengthen the police people or the DSS in your state? So this is the problem we're having. Now you see, you can even see that the police commissioner and the governor are not in very good terms because he has come out to the public to counter what the governor said.
Interesting.
So this is the root cause of the problem that we are facing.
I want to just tie this to, I mean, what's happening in the US. We see the level of gun violence, and it seems to be spreading to every county, literally, in the US. And that's because the US has a license to carry, an open carry policy in certain states, and in some other states you can just walk in, you know, to a mart and get a gun. That's on one side. Back to the fact that we are in campaign season and elections are around the corner. Why are people, especially in the Northeast, I know that there's been an outcry, but we're not seeing some form of pressure on the government from the people themselves? Because what we see are people campaigning for people who they think they want to be president or senator or whatever. The elections have seemed to be taking front and center of everything, but people are dying. They become numbers of sorts because we report them every other day. So I ask, could the reason why these things are persisting be the fact that we, the people, we, the affected, are not as persistent in pursuing our cause for life, as opposed to how we're most excited about whoever we want the candidates of whatever party to be?
Yes. First of all, you talked about the arms proliferation in the United States. You know, the citizens of the United States believe that their First Amendment has guaranteed them to carry a gun.
Yes.
You know, in fact, last week it was the issue, and the state of Texas have come out to say that if you are 21 and above, you can go walk into any gun shop. They have gun shops all over the place, and buy a gun that you can use without permit, just because you're a U.S. citizen. And now they are also fighting with the issue, because somebody can buy even an assault weapon, go into a school and shoot people. Within a month's time, it has happened in so many places, even right now. You know, even yesterday, a guy went into a tire shop and then shot some people. So you find out that gun control is becoming an issue, and it's going to be the next campaign issue in the United States elections in 2026. So the other side of it is that we, the people in Nigeria, are not well educated about the political issues. We believe that, being election or democracy is not elections. So during the election period, these same politicians, they know, because they are playing on the ignorance of the people by promising them all kinds of things, believing that they can give them money, they can buy your vote, they can give you bags of rice, and when you eat the rice, you are satisfied. And then when he goes into office, he doesn't owe you because he has paid you. So I think there is a rejuvenation where people are believing that right now you have to really wake up, and then, of course, be the people, because the Constitution says we the people. So it is that education that we need, whereby people will start to understand that the country belongs to them, and they, the government or people in government, represent them. They send them there. They are their servants. People in government are their servants, not their lords. Because we believe that, people in government are our fathers. They are our lords. A governor will go and repair a road, a 2-mile road, and people will be praising him and dancing on the street that he has done something. He's action governor, as if he used his money to do it. So this political education is what we need.
Well, it's something that we have to keep talking about. Unfortunately, we have somewhat got to a place where we don't necessarily place that much value on the number of lives that are being lost, and we're hoping that all of that can change in the future. Dennis Amakri is the former Assistant Director of the DSS, and we appreciate you for being part of this conversation.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Before I go, I'll just like to say, these people who are our leaders, their number one duty is to protect us. They promise us that they want to bring change. Have you seen it? Well, on the other hand, they tell us that they want to reclaim Nigeria, and you ask them, from what or from who? These same people are in office and want to bring a turnaround to Nigeria, but they're in office. They're unable to protect us. They're unable to protect our children. We no longer have safe spaces for our kids to go to school. Even you are unsafe to travel the highways to any part of the country. Is that the life that we want as Nigerians? So think deeply about these things. When next you go out there to try to drum up support for somebody, whoever that person is, ask yourself, is this the person that will bring the change that we need in Nigeria? I'm Mary Anako. Have a good night.
is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thoughts and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Welcome to your favorite program, The Moment of Truth, brought to you by the Citadel Global Community Church. Our God is a God of salvation, far above all principality and power, and might and dominion, that regardless of what happens in this season, you will escape. Say to your neighbor, there is no peace for the wicked. The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's precious possession. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Moment of Truth with Pastor Tunde Bakare, Sundays, 7 p.m. on PlusTvAfrica.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Raise, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Usayome Saleh, and today I have the lovely Laide Rokpo and Money. Hello, ladies.
How are you?
Hi, you are.
You seem to have put on a different tone this evening.
I did. Oh,
mellow level.
I'm mellow. When you have been humbled, you know, I had a very hectic week. You know, from Wednesday I've not been home. I've not seen my house. You know, I don't know what my house is looking like when I get there. But I've just been back to back from one event to this, to that, to that, to that.
You're enjoying your life.
How? It's not enjoyment.
You were staying in a place with 24-hour electricity.
I broke down. So I'm on medication.
From staying in the bathtub for too long.
No,
even start.
No, I think it's just induced. So I'm on medication for, I'm taking antibiotics and malaria. It's just crazy. But
you don't look it anyway.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
Say thank you. Thank God.
I thank the Lord. But you see,
I'm going through as
you see, I thank the Lord. But you see, this look that I have is not
very deceptive, and then people
not making helpers of destiny
with you. I know that.
Money, like I can't say that. I can't say I'm broke. I can't say I'm this.
Exactly.
Because people will know answer
and
me.
You're shining.
You're looking this fresh. But what's wrong with you?
Say you're lying.
But I'm grateful to God. I'm really grateful. Honestly, it's been a crazy week, but it's been fruitful and productive. So that's all that matters. How was your week, Manny?
My week or my weekend?
Or the weekend, rather.
The weekend. How was the weekend? Okay, weekend was good. My mom was around. So when my mom was around.
Nice. Shout out, mommy.
She cooks a lot.
She cooks black soup for me.
Her.
One soup for me. She makes black soup. I love black soup. So that's what we eat in Edo State. So yeah, she
Shout
did
out to mommy.
Yeah, hey mommy.
Hey mama.
How about you, my lady? How was your weekend?
It was very cozy because we had very regular electricity, which I found very strange because they said that the grids had been shutting down. So I don't know what it is that they did for us in my estate, but we thank you. And then also it was raining, so it was a weather for two, but unfortunately there was only one of me in the house.
That part of weather for two. God help us. But hey, have you got a gun yet?
Well, I'm considering it.
So I'm gonna be taking some, shooting lessons, because I'm gonna shoot someone.
Where's the range?
If I don't even know. So it means that you are more experienced than I am.
Yes, I'm actually investigating it.
Are you serious?
Yes, because I believe I'm a good shot. The only problem is you hope not to hesitate when you need to shoot.
That you freeze.
Yes.
That means you're not
Absolutely.
ready. You're not ready.
All right, so we're talking guns, though. We can't let this slide. We're discussing security, and the Zamfara state government asking the people to go and fortify themselves, get your guns and all of that. That's the conversation. And here's what we found as today's quote. Now, if you can't go to the borders and fight against the enemy, then unite and do something for your country. It's a very short and simple quote. Now, the Zamfara state government has directed residents of the state to obtain guns to defend themselves against bandits' invasion. Now, this became necessary following the increase in the activities of bandits in various parts of the state. So, Dixon Osadi is here to discuss the declaration of the Zamfara government. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. All right, you're still watching Ways. Today is PTSD Awareness Day. That's Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Day. It has a profound effect on the lives of those who suffer from it. The statistics alone are staggering, but can only tell a portion of the story. The trauma and anxiety associated with PTSD is a constant burden, inseparable from the sufferer. It was once a condition that was attributed only to returning combat veterans, but more and more the condition is diagnosed in those who have experienced violent crime or lived through catastrophic events. Now, some of the symptoms people suffering from PTSD may experience are trouble sleeping, reliving memories of the event, anxious or on the edge, avoidance of things or people who remind you of events over time. The signs may fade. Now, however, if they don't fade, seeking treatment is not only suggested but helpful to many who suffer from PTSD. The United States Senate established PTSD Awareness Day in 2010 following then Senator Kent Conrad's effort to designate the awareness as a tribute to Army Staff Sergeant Joe Bale of the North Dakota National Guard. Bale suffered from PTSD and took his own life in 2007 after returning to North Dakota following his second tour of duty in the Iraq War. Bale's birthday, June 27, was chosen to mark PTSD Awareness Day and honor his memory. So post-traumatic stress disorder, I have suffered this, for the longest of time because I went through crisis in the North, So if I hear sounds of loud sounds, like banging sounds, like the knockout and all of that, my heart starts to palpitate. Then at some point we were robbed in school with flashlights. So if we're approaching a police checkpoint
and you see the flashlights,
it just,
takes you back.
I had sleepless nights, you just be thinking, be reliving the memory. And I didn't even see the dead bodies. My sisters were the ones that saw the dead bodies, like burnt human beings.
Really?
Yeah, I was a bit shielded because for some strange reason, for every time the war would break, that day I would just fall ill. And that day, and my dad, unlike him, he would say, even if you're ill, go to school. If it's getting worse, they'll call me to come take you up. But for all the times, he just said, okay, stay home, let me take you to the hospital. And by the time, before we even get to the hospital, the fight breaks out, and they forget that I even forget that I was, running a temperature or something. It just happened like that. So, despite that, I still have those. So I cannot imagine the people that
were actually in it and witnessed.
So, did you have any experience like PTSD?
Yes, I had one. I suffered something in my life, and that I don't want to talk about on TV. So I understand this, but I thank God that it doesn't affect me anymore.
You're so blessed, man. You don't you don't dwell in things.
No, I'm not a dweller. I only dwell in the secret place.
Of the Most High, yeah. How about you, Lady?
Well, I dwell and I camp a tent there. And,
are you serious?
I'm telling you, at times I can't just but live through it. and then come out on the other side and then get stronger. That's how I know how to deal with it. I don't know how to suppress my feelings. If you ask me how I am, if I'm not fine, I'm not fine.
So you're the kind of person that when you are served breakfast, you guys know what breakfast is.
Breakfast is not even one of the things I would consider.
You stay there and continue listening to love songs
but
and
that's,
crying and
that's
crying.
the funny thing. It's not there are different things that affect people in different ways. Breakfast would never even matter to me because I've never even countenanced it in the first place. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So anybody that wants to serve breakfast just has to decide whether it's yam and egg or it's akara and ogi. I don't mind whatever breakfast. I don't even consider it to be breakfast.
Like that.
But I suffered domestic violence. And I find that when people raise their voices around me, it gets me really jittery. And it was my kids that first noticed it and said, I think this is what might be wrong with you. Because even when nobody's threatening you,
you're afraid.
Once you see that there's an elevation in sound, you start getting stiff and defensive, almost as if something is coming at you and you may need to protect yourself from it. So that's my own experience of PTSD. It's been decades, so I survived it.
Thank God.
We live, so let's find what we found in the news.
Honestly, I like you already.
Money. What's your story?
Ibrahim Muhammad forced to resign as CJN after protest letter by 14 judges. So the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ibrahim Tako Muhammad, resigned on Sunday according to reports. He cites his ailing health as a reason for his resignation. Last week, in a letter disclosed to multiple media houses, 14 justices of the Apex Court accused the CJN of abandoning his responsibilities as a leader of the court. The judges also accused the CJ of going on foreign trips with his family while denying them the right to go on international training. So it was learned that there was a memo from the justices to the presidency highlighting all of the CJ's financial dealings and stating that they will stop sitting from September if he is not removed. So, however, the CJ, in a statement issued by his spokesman, Issa Ahuraka, said he did not want to join issues with the justices, adding that the circulation of the letter is akin to dancing naked at the market square. So a few hours ago, so this is another report, a few hours ago, President Muhammadu Buhari swore in Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, a justice, forgive me, a justice of the Supreme Court as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. So President Buhari administered the oath of office on Ariwoola at the council chambers of the presidential villa, Abuja. Forgive me, Amedo.
So what's the gist of the situation?
So the gist of it is that he's not well. He's resigned based on health issues, and they've put someone else to stay there in acting. Yes.
Okay, so let's watch the space. Laide, your story.
We're just going to go back to follow up on the Ekwere Madu.
Ekwere Madu. Now it's your turn to mispronounce.
Abi. And I got it well last week.
That very well. Ekwere Madu.
Anariwola. Okay. So last week, like some people suggested, after we had spoken about the breakout of the story, we also started saying that let's think about it the way most people act when they want to jackpot, right? Let's take it from that angle that this boy knew exactly what he was going for and he was in agreement of it. He knew that, and then again they say that he's not a minor, that he's actually an adult.
I even saw another one.
Yeah, a family member claims he's 25.
Yes.
The immigration documents of his passport say he's 21, but we know that he's a mature person. I actually zoomed in to look at his visa, and the expiry date is in July. So I believe, let me say allegedly, just to protect myself from any legal acts, I believe that what happened was that this guy saw it as an opportunity to go abroad because they had made the statement that they were going to make life better for him. He saw it as an opportunity to go abroad. And they said that his organ didn't even match. He wasn't a good match. Of course, whether or not it was a good match
after found out when they traveled.
When he traveled.
Yeah.
So whether or not he was a good match, assuming they even went through surgery, the agreement they had at the embassy that they made an application to was that he would come back home. I see it as him trying to, abscond.
seek asylum. That's what they say.
Seek asylum.
But that is what it is. It's as simple
Yes.
as that. But let me tell you how the law works. It's not about what he intended to do. It's about what the law states.
And how it started in the
Yes,
first
they
place.
are not supposed to
solicit for
they
pay.
are not supposed to do that at all.
Yes.
You understand? So that is what it is.
I heard it's
Forget about
illegal for them to
any-
offer money when you're trying to get someone to donate an organ in
Yes,
the
you
UK.
are not supposed
You're not supposed to get
no.
any monetary benefits for it. Anybody that does it
and he's
has
supposed
to
to
be
be
a match.
accompanied by a family member.
Exactly, in case he doesn't make it out.
See, I don't blame the boy. Anybody right now in Nigeria that sees an opportunity to
I mean,
jump
wasn't it
will
in
go.
Zimbabwe that they said they were cutting off tolls?
Tolls, yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
that
We told
someone
that
was
story.
already saying that if they brought it to Nigeria.
In fact,
tolls
I
would be
calculated
missing.
my tolls.
I was thinking as well. That's why. When will I be able to get property?
You guys are not serious.
It's a joke. As Yorubas, we say "Oroburuku tonteri," meaning that it's in jest that we find out what is really serious.
Yeah.
And we
I
discuss
said
it.
because I was seriously calculating it. That's
Yes.
some millions right there.
Abi.
The biggest toll is the most expensive. The tiniest is the
And yours is
Owa.
yellow toe.
I don't believe you. And yellow toes. I'm
Ah,
sorry. They will cause
fresh.
So
you.
at the end of the day, on the one hand, when the story broke out, we all were up in arms and trying to accuse this shady, in quote, politician for having done that, trying to save his child's life. But now they're saying, let us see from a different perspective of it was supposed to be mutually beneficial.
Yes.
And someone has now reneged on the agreement that they
Yeah,
had,
so-
apart from which is now trying to incriminate them, which is separate.
It's understandable. So what I would just say to this, next time, get a good lawyer.
Absolutely.
Because your lawyer is supposed to do all the checks.
Get
and
money.
balances.
Get money.
I know
Don't
a
just get
family
it.
that actually had a nanny or a house up in the house. Once they accuse you of anything, before it's like you're guilty until proven innocent. That's how it seems.
And there are some matters that are very, very
sensitive. All right, so mine is just to say that I'm loving Tonto Dike by the minute. She's the deputy governor candidate for what's it called, the ADC, that's African Democratic Congress. So if they can just quickly show the video clip, just to say we're in solidarity with her.
Here present, the governorship candidate of Rivers State, Honorable Tonte, members of the press crew, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on existing protocol and state that today is not a day for long speech, but a day to walk the talk. It is obvious the majority of Nigerians and the good people of Rivers State in particular have complained for far too long on how governance and democratic development dividends have not met international best standards. We have also grumbled on why selfless, vibrant, and innovative youths have not been given the opportunity to participate and contribute their quota towards the development of their states, with special interest in Rivers State, where I personally come from. I am very optimistic that we are in a defining moment in our social and political history, but desperate measures shouldn't be the first and last option. But a technical approach is needed to salvage the plights confronting our dear here present.
Okay, so I'm excited for one thing that, a lot of people have talked, right? Whether you like it or not, as long as I see people like this stepping up to the challenge, it's more than enough for me. Let's not just talk and talk and talk. At least she's doing something, trying to take it a step further, to walk the talk, which is good.
It's
right?
admirable.
What is admirable, yeah. So whether or not she's qualified, whether or not she has the technical know-how, let her first of all go first, because she has...
how such acts would encourage other people that really have the know-how to do it.
Saying
it might even be just because they want to oppose her that they will step up to the plate. But I mean, with the following that she has and the controversy that seems to follow her everywhere she goes, it's good news. It's going to have traction for a while till we figure it out. Because that party, Nigeria is always seemingly running a two-party system. At times, I feel personally, that why do people bother? Personally.
Okay, on that note, let's take a break. Let's discuss guns. I'm thinking I'm going to get one. Stay Stay with us.
Ooh,
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. By no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
He suffered equally confessed.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, in a statement obtained by The Punch on Sunday, the Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Megaji Dosara, revealed that the government had concluded arrangements to facilitate residents to acquire basic weapons. Now, the statement partly read, government has henceforth directed individuals to prepare and obtain guns to defend themselves against the bandits, as government has directed the State Commissioners of Police or State Commissioner of Police to issue licenses to all those who qualify and are wishing to obtain such guns to defend themselves. Government is ready to facilitate people, especially our farmers, to secure basic weapons for defending themselves. Today, we want to discuss this statement about the prepare and obtain gun declaration by the Zamfara state government. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. I want to bring in Dixon in a minute, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts on these guns. Do you agree with the government saying that people can go and start to obtain guns just to protect themselves? What's your thought?
Short answer, no.
Okay.
If I could go further, I mean, we have America going through a crisis of people having the ability to pick up guns at will, or willy-nilly, as they would say. And you can't really talk about the mental state of mind of people that are handling guns. They say it's not guns that kill people, it's people that kill people. So now we're talking about trying to get protection for ourselves, but at the cost of what? I mean, we've seen people who are uniformed men in traffic being riled and having road rage and cocking guns and everything. So you can imagine how it feels when a civilian has the right to carry arms as well. We won't even be speaking anymore.
It will be chaotic.
It's just, let's just shoot each other and move on. It's very dangerous.
Absolutely. Let me hear your thought, Manny.
No, the Nigerian constitution is silent. on this. And the Firearms Act just says that you have to have a license to be able to own guns in Nigeria. You have to be over the ages of 17 years old, no criminal record, and no traits of domestic violence or any addictions. So that said, in answering your question, is what do I think about it? I just think that in Nigeria, even if we have laws, we suffer from execution. We suffer from implementation. So what are the laws that would govern the carrying or licensing of guns to individuals? I think that's what we should be more worried about. Do we have a problem in Nigeria? Yes, we have a security issue in Nigeria. From the survey that I heard, over 11,000 people have died in Zamfara. So if we have this number increasing, it's little wonder that a governor is telling his people to go and buy guns. But it is the responsibility of the government to protect its citizens.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think that because of who we are as a nation, I don't advise this.
Absolutely. Let me bring in our guest now. This Dixon Osaji is a criminologist and a global security analyst. He holds a gold standard security certification, the Certified Protection Professional, that's CPP board certificate, United States of America. He's a former soldier of the Nigerian Army and a recipient of the Nigerian Army Gallant Medal of Honor in Operations Harmony 4, Bakassi Peninsula. Dixon is an internationally certified security expert and the managing director of Debris Protection Services Limited, a licensed private security company here in Nigeria. And he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much, Dixon, for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
That was you. You're wondering, who was I? Who was I? You know, so
impressive profile.
Thank you so much, because again, first of all, I want to say thank you, because every time we call on you, you always answer us promptly. I mean, this is a conversation that I didn't just want us to just talk about. Let us even hear it from a perspective of a professional. The first thing that came to my head when I saw this, prepare and obtain guns from the government, I'm wondering, is this not failure on the part of the government? And secondly, I'm wondering, how do we even begin to harmonize this thought of guns? Why now? Insecurity has been on, as far as my head can calculate, when then President Jonathan was in office. So let me take out Obasanjo's era, because there was a bit of control then. There was quick, swift response and all. I'm talking about when they started losing grounds in terms of like arresting and I mean, as addressing rather the situation or curbing the menace. It was during the later part of President Jonathan's term that insecurity started. So why didn't they bring up this law? So why is it now? And, you know, why are they asking people to go get guns now?
Well, it's very funny. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Beautiful programs, beautiful ladies on the shows.
Thank you.
I am blessed. Well, you see, presently here in Nigeria, we are suffering from multidimensional security threats from the east, west, south, and north. And going by your question, Zamfara State, for example, has been suffering from a high rate of insecurity since 2011, about 11 years down the line. People are dying every day. Billions of naira has been spent in Zamfara State to bring the state of Zamfara to a positive state, positive peace situation. And now the governor has asked that everybody needs to, get licensed. That is a failure on our military. And that is a failure on our security agency as well, because the best time to prepare in a war situation is peacetime. So we are in a war situation here in Nigeria. We must accept that fact. Nigeria is in a state of war. Now, when you go into global statistics, when human life exceeds 999 being eliminated by criminal elements or terrorists, that is a war situation. But here, we are getting used to human lives being killed every day. In fact, it's even getting normal. Now, if you go by what the governor is trying to say, first of all, do we have the mindset to license? Are we prepared? Are we at that stage in which we want to give Nigerians guns? Psychologically, I would say no, because the state of insecurity in Nigeria is very worrisome. And also, one of the problems we have in Nigeria, how we arrive at this stage, is because of the proliferation of small arms and ammunition. you know, from the east, west, and north. The porosity of our national borders brought us to this stage, because most of these guys, after the fallout of Libya and the Sahel region, most people think that Nigeria is a place you come and find refuge, because crime flourished in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
And that's how we need to, as time goes on, we need to start looking at how we mitigate this bit of insecurity in North. And also, what is the administration of criminal justice system? What are they doing in respect to this? The Chief of Defense Staff today says very clearly that it's a no-no that Zamfara State Governor has no power to authorize the Commissioner of Police to arm its citizens.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's a no-no.
It's a no.
So, why?
Because probably it's not constitutionally correct for him to be able to make such a statement.
The Constitution is silent on that. So
We
that
know
means it does not give permission and it still does not prohibit.
But you would fall on the side of what seems to be normal in law.
What's normal in Nigeria?
Nothing is normal in Nigeria, but you cannot justify a governor just coming out. We're not under military rule.
Yeah,
If we were under military rule, maybe then you could say, oh, it's a matter of sort of like dictatorship.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that these citizens should sit down and wait for them to be attacked? I'm not trying to say that what the Zamfara State Governor is good. I'm not siding with him, but I think I understand where he's coming from.
Oh, yes.
The government has failed. He knows that they have failed. He knows that he cannot protect his citizens. So what does he say? Arm yourself, protect yourself, because in Nigeria, we have all become our own government.
Yes.
So I understand what he's saying. So for me, would I sit back and wait for these people? If I lived in Zamfara, my dear, I'll get a gun.
No, I will not wait for the license.
I will get a license and I will buy bazookas.
When you are gone, you are gone. Bazooka.
Bazookas. I can tell you.
You can handle
Please.
So I hear you, Manny, and I will come back to the times where we had the Sharia crisis in Kaduna State. And I remember that, you know, at some point, yes, there was military intervention, but it got to the stage where people had to join forces. We had to get, you know, and almost like a
vigilante group.
So no, it wasn't only. So it was almost like, okay, the southern part of Kaduna, they started using bows and arrows. You know, even up until Jazz said they would put fire in an arrow, shoot it, it go and land in somebody's house. You know, we saw all of that happen, but that self-defense. Right, it was really, if not for the fact that a lot of people were able to defend themselves. Yes, there were military intervention, but before those military interventions got to us, yes, they had to get to that point where they picked up arms to be able to protect themselves. But getting guns now, as individuals around Zamfara, what is the implication, right, for what's it called? Will it really bring that security that they are?
Where are the guns going to come from?
No, not even
they are going to be legal arms from arms.
Basically, when we talk about these guns, we're not expecting the Zamfara State government to give its citizens Kalashnikov or general multipurpose machine gun. You know, it's this local it's a local gun. But for me, I think the criminal elements are more sophisticated. You know, they carry out sophisticated weapons.
Yes.
And you know, 2023 is around the line. We have to be very careful with the system, because Zamfara State government are trying to apply. Because if you want to license guys' gun, don't be surprised. They might want to give it to their own boys to protect themselves during the 2023 election. So I would not advise that to play for now. What they should be doing right now is to ensure they mobilize the Nigerian police very effectively. You know, like I've rightly said many times, we have a transactional policing system. We don't have an effective policing system.
Honestly.
Because when you look at the Nigerian police, about 371,000 personnel and men, over half of its personnel are protecting just the elites. In a state of insecurity in Nigeria, we have, if you think I'm joking, after this show, just stay on the express, you see them passing with the elites, 10, 20 mobile police protecting one man with our taxpayers' money. And we need to take a departure from centralized policing system, because presently we are practicing a centralized policing system. We need to decentralize our policing system.
Yes. No, so we'll go on a very short break, because I would like to touch on a little bit on that, because I know even for the policemen that are detailed to influential people, like you put them, I know that it is those people that are paying them their salary. Are you trying to tell me that they are still collecting? But let's take a break. It's true now. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we are discussing this Prepare and Obtain Gun Declaration by the Zamfara State Government, and we have our guest, Dixon, with us Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So there are fears about the elections, yes, that is around the corner, that people are wondering that why now? Because that's that's the question that's been going around. Is it this, like a tactic to just, hide it under so that it is legally, like before where you give your thugs the guns, behind the scenes, but now you're making it legal so that, it's not seeming like, oh no, they're trying to protect themselves, but at the end of the day, we know so how do we even checkmate this, right? Well, if you were to give like a solution, to the government that is not thinking about this, everybody go get guns, what would have been the proper solution that you would have probably suggested to the Zamfara state government?
Well, for me, the first thing I would suggest to the Zamfara state government is to carry out an assessment of the causative factors. How did they arrive at this stage? Because you can't provide a solution without knowing the root cause analysis. What is the root cause analysis? How did Zamfara state arrive at this stage? Zamfara state is a gold mining state, you understand? And we have a lot of illegal
mining activities
taking place in that place. And for you to succeed in your mining activities, you need to make sure that you make the state to be a conflict state, most of these conflict entrepreneurs, what they are doing, they are capitalizing on the vulnerability of the state of insecurity in the Zamfara state, because the vulnerability of the state government is the opportunity of this criminal element. First of all, what they need to do, having carried out an assessment of what really transpired, they need to start looking at multi-dimensional approach, because most people think military approach will eliminate the state of insecurity. No. When I was a soldier, what we do as a soldier just to go and destroy, the Nigerian army is not meant to repair, just to eliminate the enemy and the police go and clean up the place. So what they need to start looking now is that they need to ensure that they adopt a collective approach, that is a counter-insurgency approach. It has to deal with political approach, tactical approach from the military point of view, because counter-insurgency is a two-way coin. That is enemy-centric and population-centric. The enemy-centric aspect of it is the military. They will deal with the enemy. Why the population-centric has to deal with the people, the politics, the politicians. We need to know what are their grudges, what is the problem, what do they want? You understand? So if we don't know the causative factors or the root cause analysis of this incident, we will not be able to project mitigation factors. But moving forward, I think the state government in Zamfara state should be looking at projecting effective security force within Zamfara state, and the state of security will be mitigated.
It's very easy to get confused with the big grammar that you're speaking, because I'm sure it came with training for all the things that you've learned to know. When you say the enemy something and the population.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm just using gumption to tag along and try to understand what it means. When the governor says, I'm now speaking as a layman, when the governor says that we've lost control of security in this country, and I think you all need to take the powers into your hands, which really shouldn't be. And then as individuals, we know that at the end of the day, it may be a case of some animals are more equal than others. Some will have access, some will not have access, even if that's the case of so what's the fate of the lesser man? Who doesn't? Do you understand what I mean?
Understand.
They put a law in place, or even if it were to go into effect, is what I'm saying. Some people will not have access to this ammunition, and the ammunition is not something that they're going to get legally, even if they give us licenses legally. Because who's going to release that much ammunition?
And guns are expensive.
In short, I mean, we watch movies all the time when they say it's all about weapons and making money from weapon trade and everything, and that they're always trying to sidetrack the legal route of getting these weapons to the right people. So if we were going to get the weapons to these Zamfara people, or anybody for that matter, and get it at such a short period of time, it probably wouldn't go through due process. So, which is why I'm saying that it's not everybody that will have access. It's the same elite that have the police standing by them. That will probably have, that will probably have pieces on them, and then the ones that seem to suffer first are still left on their own.
Well, you see, the battle begins from the mind. It's not about giving these guys the gun. Are they prepared? You understand? Because sometimes you come in line with enemy fire. You can't even find where the trigger is. You'll be confused. You can't even return fire to the enemy.
That's what she said.
So the guys you want to give this gun, are they prepared? Are they trained? Because, most people think achieving security is all about arms and ammunition. It's not about arms and ammunition. If it's all about arms and ammunition, I tell you, Nigeria will be a better place. There are 4 things placed in the battlefield. The Shell acronym is known as the Shell acronym. This software, we need to start developing, looking into technological approach in our security mechanism, because like Americans now, what they do is that instead of them to send a man to the enemy line, they send drones.
Guess what? We have them here. So that's why, we talked about this insecurity issue on the show, like, I don't know, a couple of months ago. And we talked about using drones. Drones is a very good option. You send the drones in, they find out where the enemy is, you eliminate it. Guess what?
It detonates.
Because of the kind of country we live in, even when you send the drones to check them out and you find them and you know where they are, before you send the someone has told them. And
it's not only that. I mean, so remember the allegations. And here's the big issue now. Do you think the government truly are helpless about fighting insecurity in Nigeria, or
I don't think
they are looking away and letting these people thrive? Because there were strong allegations when Arotile, the pilot, you remember when she came on board and she was going she was bombing all those enemy camps and all of that. Because till tomorrow, her death is still questioned. People are saying that a lot of, because, I mean, we've had allegations. Let's not kid ourselves on this table. We've had allegations about how people will come out and say state governments are sponsoring these things and all of that. So, do you see this fight against insecurity truly like the government is helpless, or they are just choosing to look away from the situation?
By the grace of God, I think I was born into the family of the military. My father is a former soldier. He has 4 boys, 3 of us are soldiers. And what my father told me 25 years ago when I joined the military is to protect the territorial integrity of our fatherland. He loves this country so dearly. And to be very honest with you, sometimes I begin to think if truly the Nigerian army, I know is still the Nigerian army functioning till date. But let me just be honest with you, the Nigerian military has been politicized. And that is the truth. The Nigerian police has been politicized. Because I see no reason. Over 12 years, the Nigerian army has been engaging Boko Haram. 12 years. I see that as a friendly match.
Yeah.
I see it as a friendly match. Because in the early days, if there's an incident happening here in Victoria Island, and you ask the Nigerian army, to go and resolve that issue before you even take off.
In 10 seconds, it's gone.
These guys have disappeared, but they are bringing the attack to our military base. They are bringing the attack
to our doorstep.
So to our doorstep. They are killing our soldiers every day, killing our officers every day, and nobody is talking about that. For me, I think the government should be held accountable with the space of insecurity, because they are culpable. I must tell you the truth. Because it's resolvable.
So on one hand,
that is resolvable.
It is resolvable. On one hand, that's one hand. So what do we now start? What do we need to do with the citizens? Because, like you rightly said, I mean, I think Lady also mentioned it. You can't just give guns to people that are not trained mentally for combat, right? Yeah. So do we start to say, okay? Because I mean, this weekend, I found out there were things like spy police and all of that. So I hired one, and I felt so good. I was feeling myself.
No, she's not. He's talking about
spy police. I'm not calling military police. Spy police. So actually, they are trained.
Yeah. Yes.
You understand? So you can actually then have citizens being trained to, because you see, insecurity is a lot that happens. Before that or killing, I am telling you that they must have gone to survey. They know all the So who are the people that have the fifth sense to say they are scanning the environment? How are the citizens of the state or the tribesmen, how are they monitoring their environment? Yes. How are they noticing something different coming into their territory? Do you understand? So we can do all of those. We don't have to get to that point of guns. So how can we start to even help the citizens understand the situation, train them? You're smiling.
I think it's partly why. I think it's partly why. How do you know that people like
I didn't say anything. I'm just quiet. You're right.
Yeah.
You are just something else. For me, what I think, we already have these vigilantes. Now we have this Amotekun.
Which is what I just said.
You understand? Oh, you just said it.
Yeah.
we have these people. So I think instead of arming the citizens with guns, weapons that they cannot even control. We have issues in America where children go inside the room, take the gun and kill their parents. So imagine what we'll have. And Nigeria, I know we are very hot body.
Yeah.
We can't control it too. So I think if we have these vigilante groups armed and trained, and like Uwa just said now, open your eyes and observe your environment. You know when there's something that is not
normal. People
you understand? You know when someone comes in that is not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So then you now fire.
And you can easily
whatever.
identify.
I think that's the way.
Okay, you see, Nigeria is a sovereign state, and we have various departments to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria. First of all, we need to start taking back our territory, making the governable space or governable for this criminal element. Because what this criminal element does is that they take their shelter in their governed space. They come to the city, they strike and go back to their governed space. We need to start making that governed space or governable for those criminal elements. Secondly, we have an intelligence agency in Nigeria. What are they doing? Because I think we need to overhaul our national intelligence agency. Intelligence agency are supposed to, go into the enemy camp and begins to
but
fetch
you know that
information.
they report to these people.
So this is what we've been saying. That I mean, I get the knowledge from watching things like American movies when they start to watch enemy camps, using drones as well to monitor them, trying to identify who amongst the women and even children are really not civilians, carrying weapons and everything. Like she said, once they identify them, somebody is probably going to sabotage what the mission is at the end of the day, because Nigeria cannot say, in all the years that we've been having these issues, that they don't know where these people are, and that they cannot be cleared at once.
I agree.
So somebody or a group of people are actually benefiting from the fact that there's insecurity, and like you said, Zamfara being a gold mine place, and that with conflict being there, it makes it easier for them to loot the gold and maybe not even account for all the things that they're shipping out. So in Nigeria, it's because we lack consequences. And there's really nobody taking it up, even when they say there are rules and there's government, there's really nobody making sure that consequences are effected to deter them from doing it over and over again, because they still keep benefiting. This gold that they are looting, I'm sure is part of, I'm just saying from what I know of Nigeria, it's part of what is funding political aspirations.
Okay, you see, I agree.
My humble opinion.
Your opinions are truly humble. See, I think one of the major problems we have in OWA is accountability, both from the horizontal and vertical plane. People are not being held accountable when they leave office. Somebody will just come, chief of air staff, chief of army staff, inspector general of police, rule, and cannot give account of his men. Like in the United Kingdom some few years ago, a commander led his troop to Afghanistan due to mechanical error. About 14 soldiers died in an helicopter. The commander was sued and dismissed. Here we're not holding our military accountable. If we start holding our military accountable, I've said it many times. If you lose any of your family members in the military based on mechanical error, sue the Ministry of Defense. We need to start getting the Ministry of Defense sued. Sue them. Let them know that you cannot put your life on the line to serve Nigeria and you die like chicken. Our soldiers are training so hard and they are dying cheap. You don't train hard and die cheap. You train hard and die hard. So what we need to start looking is that we need to start holding people accountable. If we don't hold people accountable,
it's going to continue.
Trust me.
Why their lives not valuable enough for the government to fight for them?
What we're basically doing, we are rigmaroling. We just go around in circles.
Way forward.
Way forward, fantastic. Way forward, we need to first of all build a society. We need a societal attitude in our change. It begins with you and I, because most times these guys in government, come from somewhere. They don't just drop from society breeds them. You understand? So we need to start looking at societal attitudinal change. We need to start treating ourselves with courtesy. We need to start placing value on human lives. Here in Nigeria, human lives have no value. If you don't place value or premium on anything, you can't protect it. So we need to start placing values on human life, because even the Constitution, the topmost priority of the Constitution is the protection of human lives and its properties. Then also we need to build a formidable military. Look at what's happening in Ukraine, Russia, and the Russian invasion. What if Nigeria is under invasion? That's my question. Are you telling me these crops of military will be able to withstand the external aggression?
They will take off
God will help us.
Yeah, so what we need
We can't be saying God will help us.
That's
what do you want me to say?
Money. I believe in divine protection. I believe in divine protection. Yeah.
That's why they always said there should be a
This is what we
revelation.
say in this country every
Revolution,
time.
rather.
God will help us. God will help us. So what do you want me to say?
I believe in divine protection. But believing in divine protection does not mean you'll be of God. You need to be, the Bible says, watch and pray. Many years ago, watch, you have to be security conscious and pray. So here in our country, we pray.
Absolutely. Let's take some comments. This one says the war with Boko Haram is asymmetric. And for your information, the war against Boko Haram is almost over. We've been hearing that for a long time. And the issue of Zamfara is more of a civil war between Hausa and Fulani. No government in history has equipped the military like this government, and how come they are still failing? That's my question to the person that is sending this comment. Manny, have some comments.
Okay.
You want to comment on that? Go ahead.
Okay, the number of small arms in circulation in Nigeria in the hands of civilian non-state actors is estimated at 6.145 thousand, while the armed forces and law enforcement collectively account for 586,600 firearms. The report published earlier in the month. So since so many criminals already have guns and so many people are already dying, making it apparent that our security agencies are overwhelmed, I think a South African style system is okay, where certain private guards are allowed to bear arms. So that's what we said about the vigilante and Hamas.
So for the
the last person that made that comment, you see, most people just think arms and ammunition can bring a
do you understand? Like you said that they bought the most equipment ever. Like, okay, so if you bought the most equipment, does that translate into a successful, peaceful, whatever security?
One of the problems we're having presently with the military, and I want this person that sent this message to understand, is that our operational strategy is very, very, very bad. We have a very, let me say, deformed operational strategy. Now, you put a soldier in the battlefield. You can't put a soldier in the battlefield more than 9 months. Here we have a country, you leave a soldier in the battlefield for 4 years, 5 years, and these soldiers don't come back home to reunite with their family. Now the rule of engagement is enlist the soldier and retain the family. Don't take our soldiers to the battlefield for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It has marital benefits at home. Some of them come back home, their wives are pregnant to another man. Some of them come back home deformed. How do you expect a soldier to engage this enemy? That is why most times when Boko Haram firepower comes, most of these soldiers begins to run because psychologically they've been demoralized. You know, the battle begins from the mind, like I rightly said. If your mind is not prepared, you cannot go. You cannot succeed in the battlefield. So the government needs to start looking at tactical strategy. We have a very big problem in our tactical strategy, and that is the truth.
Even aside from the tactical strategy, you remember, I think it was sometime last year that they were talking about all the funds that they were pumping into the military care and their welfare, and that it wasn't getting to them. That the soldiers that were at the battlefields were not getting the food or ammunition.
We've seen the general crying in the battlefield.
Happens.
Well, we've seen the general crying in the battlefield.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, it's interesting.
It's lack of consequences.
I mean, we talked about PTSD today. Yes. You know, in the U.S., as in, I went to San Antonio. I went to the military base there because my uncle's wife, she did 30 years in the military as a nurse. If you see the way the military is being treated, like I wished I was in the military. It was almost like, make I go find form. Where can I sign up? Because of, no, they complain. But I'm trying to tell you that value that you place on what he was talking about. Yes. You know, those things are very important. The psychological stability of these military guys is very important. So you cannot tell me, I have given you weapons and go and do the job. That's not how it works.
No, it doesn't work.
You know, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way because in the battlefield we have the land, we have the software, we have the hardware, and we have the liveware. The liveware are the human beings. How much are you paying a soldier in the battlefield? If I tell you that a soldier that is putting a soldier who puts his life on the line in the battlefield is not even taking up to 50,000 naira as an extra allowance in the battlefield, not even up to $100. So for me to put my life on the line, I think I should be well taken care of, just like who was saying when she traveled to the United States. But here, how well are we taking care of our soldiers? Go to Ikeja cantonment. In the past 5 years, they've not had lights. And you want to tell me that just like a few days ago, the military says they are going to send out demotivated or disgruntled soldiers.
Everybody's
disgruntled.
So they're going to
what are you telling me?
dismiss the whole-
Everybody is disgruntled.
What?
Because you cannot say you are putting your life to serve this country after spending 4 years in the battlefield, coming back home to reunite with your family, you come and live in darkness. They give them light from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. every night in the past 5 years. I, Dixon Osaji, I say that, I'm saying it on live television. Are you telling me these are the kind of soldiers you want them to be motivated? No, it's very wrong. We need to start taking care of our military, take care of our police. Go to a police barrack in area F. If you put a British dog there, between 2 days, the British dog will die. Dirty environment. This is where they put our soldiers. This is where they put our police men. The environment you went to in the United States, can you tell me about the environment?
Don't even go there.
It would have.
You can literally use your tongue to lick the floor.
Even the grass is.
I'm serious. I'm not exaggerating. No, but you
see movies. Even your idol who hasn't been there.
Manny, when next you visit the United States, look for any military base and just visit. If you.
I always visit.
So we need to start taking care of our military. We need to start taking care of our.
So let's take. Like, you have a comment here.
No comment here. Except
are you
for
sure?
mine. No comment.
So the Northeast, the Northeast, he known the most peace part of. I don't know what you're trying to say.
This says, good evening, my dear and beautiful sisters. What are you saying? Wait. Prepare and obtain guns. I am against people using guns when they haven't been trained for combat. According to Sister Ua, as regards what happened to our war, if the members were equipped, they would have defended themselves. Self-defense is allowed because the security in the country is nothing to write home about. Nigeria has to wake up when it comes to security. My name is Daniel Ilo, Ways regular fan.
Thank you, Daniel.
So I was saying that it's about lack of consequences from the top to the bottom, as Buhari said, from top to bottom. Nobody has ever been put through court-martial after their service was done and you found fault with it. Yes. I don't think I have ever heard of them run a court-martial system in Nigeria. It's not something I've never heard about. And if these consequences were there for them at military level, at police level, because it's every service agent. It's not just the military. If they were held accountable and they were disciplined, in short, it's Nigeria as a whole.
You know, let me tell you, I was just going to say,
it's Nigeria as a whole.
When we talk about political corruption, financial corruption, the church, we talk about everything. It's the same issues in Nigeria. The same problems because we lack certain things. So I give up.
God help us, as you said.
Let's just agree that God help us, then we'll watch and pray.
If you were in charge of the military and you had the right today to change things, what would you do?
I will fire all the generals.
First.
Yes.
I will fire all the generals. Because we have too many generals that are being defeated by most these criminal elements. Go to different barrack generals here. Where are the strategies?
What are they doing?
What are you doing? I will have civilians.
You fire them, and then who do you use to do what you
I'll bring up new officers from the younger generation, train them, employ a lot of troops,
motivate them, give them light.
Give them good light, give them electricity, give them
food, give them money. Thank you so much. We ran out of time.
Pay them like 1 million naira a month.
Yes, they're deserving of it. Thank you so much. It's always fun having you.
Graduates even join.
Yes, I will join the army.
I will join the army. Before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's Coach Heritage again, if you can't go to the borders and fight against the enemy, then unite and do something for your country. This is a time where we all need to come together and put our heads together. You know, get all the experts. We have them within our country. Let's find a solution to insecurity. We'll see you guys live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
stay in bed 20. What are you going to be in a year? You're going to be 21. Anybody can grow old.
You can say that again. Good point.
Is to seek possibility by what we get. We make a life.
By what we give. Let the show begin.
Growing old, to fear or not to fear? How do people view old age? Why do we glorify youthfulness today? I'm here with my big aunties today, Auntie Adesua, Rosie, Fumi, to share perspectives on it. I, Chisom, I'm not afraid of old age. Maybe because I'm still young.
Don't deceive yourself, girl.
This is TW Conversations. We'll be back to talk about this after the break.
Before you enter the real world, there's some words of wisdom that I'd like to share with you. We don't stop playing because we're old. We get old because we stop playing. Make sense? There's a huge difference between growing old and growing up. I could stay in bed for a year. I'm 81, so I'll be 82. You can stay in bed, you'll be 20. What are you going to be in a year? You're going to be 21. Anybody can grow old. The trick is to seek possibility and growth and use that time and love that time. We elderly people, we don't regret what we did. We regret what we didn't do. The only people who fear death are those who have regrets. And remember, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give.
Yes, welcome back. That video kind of sets the tone, doesn't it? I mean, I saw that video on WhatsApp, and a lot of you have seen it before, but some perspectives that were raised there got me thinking, you know. Hattie is the name of that woman, and she says growing old is a function of what, I mean, we saw it just now, and what hit you when you saw it for me? I just wonder.
She said, we don't, we grow old because we stop playing. We don't stop playing because we're old.
So wait, let's first establish who are the old ones here.
Okay, I'm old. I'm old.
But so is Chisom. Chisom is 21 years old. Therefore, she's old, isn't it?
No. I want to remain this age.
Well, okay. This is one of the things that old age does to you. I have trousers under this, and so what's wrong with that? No, when you get old, you don't care. These shoes are they're a little too high for me. I want to be able to feel relaxed.
It matches the trousers.
Well, anyway, but you see, I find that people fear growing old for different reasons. I find nowadays, I think to myself, act your age, you know what I mean? So in the past, when people ask, why did you color your hair red? I won't feel odd. But somebody asked me, I mean, this was not even in Nigeria, oh, your hair is red. And like, oh, should I be having red hair at 55? But I don't like gray hair. I mean, it's just tacky. My gray is coming out in little chunks. I wish it would just be all gray. And if I dyed it gray now, that would be too much. So I find growing old, I don't know about you, for me. And Hattie's perspective kind of like opened my eyes. It will happen anyway.
Yes. I mean, you heard Hattie. We don't grow old because... We grow old because we stop playing. We don't... I don't know how she put it.
But the whole idea.
She said, actually, the reason we grow old is because we stop playing. So remaining playful can be good at any stage, and there's no reason to fear death, to fear old age. Actually, do you know what I say to people? The alternative to growing old is dying young.
Oh, well, I mean,
take a choice.
Wow, pick a choice, she says. And I think, you know, I turned 57 a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Prior to that, I always thought, I'm so glad I'm a grown-up. And then I touched a part of my face, and it felt softer than I think it should. I thought, oh my God, does it mean that when I grow old, my cheeks will droop and my skin will be soft? And I started thinking differently. And then I felt, but I'm living my best life ever.
Good girl.
And
I take every opportunity, even if I have to push myself, even if I have to go the extra mile, I'll do what my heart wants to do. So, you know, I might be a little late for one thing or the other, but I would have been laughing just before, and it's fine. So I think it's a good place to be for me now.
What is old, really? What's old? What do you think old is?
I think when you stop responding to the youthfulness of life. I mean...
Oh, that sounds good.
So it's about your response.
Yeah, so it's actually about your response. I mean, you're actually old. No, like, I mean age.
Yeah.
Chronologically. But I mean, you're also very youthful and hippie, you know. And I just look at you all and I'm like, this is me when I'm 57, when I'm 60. Look at you, for me looking all fire in our words, you know. Fire in our words, you know. So I think it's about the perspective, it's about the mind. I think there are actually a lot of young people like me who are actually already old in their thoughtfulness.
I'd like to quote something by a philosopher, Epicurus.
Okay, it's in your book, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
Who was talking on my chapter on old age.
We're going to put it on screen.
I started the chapter by quoting Epicurus, a philosopher. And this fear thing says it is not the young man who should be considered fortunate, but the old man who has lived well. Because the young man in his prime wanders much by chance, vacillating in his beliefs, while the old man has docked in a harbor, having safeguarded his true happiness. So they want us to feel fortunate, but I hear what you said. It's very difficult to feel fortunate when you start feeling your body soften.
My knees.
And your knees stiff.
My knees.
And so I say to people, two things you need for old age: courage and humor.
Humor.
I think that was because my father-in-law, he passed recently at 88. But it was such a deep and painful thing, like a 28-year-old man died, because he was into everything. And the thing he had going for him was his youthfulness. He would play with a 2-year-old like he was a, you know. So I kind of buy into this idea of that. If you stop playing, you get old. But we must admit, sisters, that as we get old, some parts will go to the departure lounge.
That's where you need the courage and humor. Because you can look at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself and say, for me, gravity is at it. What can we do about it? That's humor. Knowing that you are actually getting older takes courage. However, what doesn't make you fearful, like Epicurus says, is having lived well, having planned it, having prepared for it, such that it's not a surprise.
Like she says, I mean...
You know, one of the things that we may benefit from in our generation is that we've had to look after aging parents.
Yes.
So we have seen in real life...
how it plays out.
How it plays out. Whether your parents were socialites or very interesting people in their work life, you've seen them age gracefully, then you've seen them go into what I call the forgotten nation, where people don't even remember them. And it's a lesson to us. We can choose to do as we will with our experiences of taking care of the aged.
I think that, as I was watching Chisom react to that, I'm wondering, Chisom, you're in your 20s, it's like you live forever. But how do the young view the old people? Do they respect them? Because one of the things about growing old is lack of relevance, really.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I think it's just normal, or it's just typical for us to, respect the old because of
our culture.
Because of our culture. And that's the word, because of actually our culture. I mean, I find it very relative to see people who are older, like the little things we do when we see older people, we get up for them to sit, and a host of things. Probably if the person is walking by and the person needs help, if she's walking with her handbag, we could help her pick it up. It's just this mindset that Maybe she doesn't have this.
No, but you're not addressing the issue of relevance. You know why it is that
I was going to
these
say,
people are past it. You know why they tell you, but they don't understand.
That's why relevance is actually by yourself, the preparation we talk about. Relevance is still being able to participate in the world at some stage.
And add value to the world.
And add value to the world. You know, we all take career and we think career is going to last forever. But 80% of our socializing during career is from career and work. What a lot of people don't plan for is what will be their socializing and relevance after career, after those active lives. And I could give one or two advice in that direction.
No, but personal examples for me.
Yes. I mean, okay, let me give you an example. Relevance. A lot of my age mates might not be able to call up somebody who is, say, a senior manager in a bank today. But I still have friends amongst them. I call them up.
And these are people probably in their 40s or...
In their 40s who were not even in the banking industry when I was there.
So you don't carry airs?
I don't carry airs, but I lived my life in a way that I knew that I needed to keep that relevance going. So when I call them today, I don't call them to look for a contract. I call them to say, so what are the investment opportunities? So these things Central Bank just sent out, can you send me a one-pager as to how it might affect me?
Okay, you know, I don't know how you respond to this, though. Don't you have a situation where they're like, I feel like Agbaya? Like, I mean, I'm 55. I would like to wear a pair of shorts and walk on the street. But crying out loud, there's cellulites there. Why would I want to be punishing people with sight or cellulites? That's Agbayaism, if you ask me.
No, but that's grace. You have to do things with grace.
I think that now, I mean, I always say that if you look on Instagram, everybody has a brand.
Yes.
Everyone knows about it. Yes. The sale of makeup, etc., went up through the roof because of Instagram and selfies. So at your age, you must have a brand. And it must have a brand that has content.
Shouldn't
drives
relevance.
You shouldn't do mutton dressed as lamb.
Yes.
So there are certain clothes that I would never wear. But because I can't wear them, I might buy them for my young friend so that I can see my nieces and my nephews have fun in it. I still derive joy from that, but that still gives me relevance because they know that you're hot on fashion, you know what's going on, they can chat with you about that.
They have corroborate that.
And you can pay for it.
True or false?
True. True. And I mean, there are old people like Kim Kardashian's mom. I'm trying to remember her name right now.
Okay.
Kris Kardashian. Yes, Kris Jenner. She does a lot of...
See, I know about that more than you.
Yes. You know, and she has done quite a number of things like facelifting and... Yes, to remain very youthful and, you know, look.
Exactly,
look
that's
like,
my point. That's what's happening now.
That's what Daniel Klein said in his book.
But you know, now in Lagos, there are people who fly in just to help you cut some parts. And I'm wondering, is that not just trying to stay young?
Why not? Why not?
No, let's hear what she has to say about that.
What do you mean by why
I just think that if you feel uncomfortable with it, then
with what? With what you look like.
With what you look like.
Getting rid of the wrinkles.
And sometimes it's not even age, because there are young people who still do breast lifts and everything.
Because they want to stay relevant, because they want that perky breast. It's got to do with age too.
Different strokes for different people. It's okay.
While let me say to you, let me speak to that point, Rosie. While I am, you all know, I'm vain, and so I'm not going to let the body go. I'm going to gym. I'm going to dress well. However, do you know what Daniel Klein, read the book, it's Travels with Epicurus, and he was talking about authentic aging. And in his book, he says, in an attempt to keep permanently youthful, and we struggle at it, it becomes exhausting. And the exhaustion shows on you.
And you start looking old.
And he says, by doing that, you actually miss a portion of life that should be pleasant, that should be enjoyed. And if you're not careful, you're going to jump from tight shirts, yellow Ferrari, into one day, you're just so old from the exhaustion.
Okay, you know what, guys, this is the time.
Beauty comes
maybe
from
this is the time for me. Let's take a break, because we must take a breather. Yeah. But I like that authentic aging. We'll be back and we'll be seeing how we can age authentically. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, you've convinced me. I'm going to put on my shoes again. Yeah. After all, I'm not walking anyway, and it does match my trousers, actually.
Beautiful.
But I think at this point, it's been nice for me to hear what Rosie had to say about aging authentically, because, I mean, authentic is, it depends on who's looking.
And it depends on what you think authentic is. We all make different choices in life. And if by a tummy tuck, I feel better about myself, and I can go out and live my life, that's fine. If you're like me and you've got your bumps and inroads, and you're still happy about that, and you don't shy away from wearing a one-piece bathing costume, lucky you, or lucky me, as the case is. But people should be free to live their lives the way they want to, in order to get the best out of that time. For me today, as I'm aging, I like to take every opportunity. If I go to a theme park, I'll be trying everything there. I made a conscious decision. I'm not going to be afraid of anything. If it's the water, I'm in it. If it's a slide, I'm up on it. I made a conscious decision.
That's courage.
But then it's part of growing old, because if I didn't do that, I could go out with the young ones and find myself seated with a book or just staring. I want to be in it.
So you must be active. No, that's playfulness. We must differentiate.
Isn't there a thin line between playfulness and agbayaism?
No, exactly. I can see the difference from what... There's playfulness.
No,
if I will gym...
Help me explain what agbaya is. Agbaya is a Yoruba word, which means...
Agbaya is basically trying too hard to be what you're not. And not only is it exhausting to you, it looks hilarious to the young people watching. What do you think?
I think so too.
So if you saw me on the street with hot pants...
You look hilarious sometimes.
I mean, if you didn't do it well, like if you didn't cover up the necessary places, and you're trying to be like us in a very extreme way, of course I would laugh. Of course I would have that conversation with my mate, like...
Yes, but what would you say? No, let me hear what she would say. What would you say with your mate?
What would you say?
Okay, she's trying too hard.
Oh, yeah,
but also I don't think that sits with one group of people, because you do see younger people in very high shoes who cannot walk.
Yes.
I would look at them and say, girl,
trying too hard.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
You could have lowered by an inch, you'd be fine. You're trying too hard. So it exists in every age group, every grouping of people.
But it looks
ridiculous with old people. I believe it looks
hilarious and ridiculous. Do you know what Helen Mirren said? Helen Mirren says, I took that from her.
You're quoting people today.
3. No, I'm a self-help person. I learn. I learn from other people. Helen Mirren, actress, superstar. She says after a certain age, it became 3/4 sleeve. She wasn't going to let certain things...
because this part...
Jowl around. Now, some people might be comfortable with those things hanging about, but it's actually being vain that Helen Mirren and I have decided on our 3/4 sleeve.
No, but I think it's gracefulness.
It's grace.
No, I also think beyond gracefulness, it's being kind to other people. I don't see why an older woman who has this thing flying around and then you say, because I don't care, and you are...
It's called Hallelujah Mom Arms.
No, it doesn't. It's not fair.
The flies.
Let the young ones do it, and
the flies.
I saw an older woman, actually much older woman. One at church, yes, close to her 80s, and she was exquisite. High heels, well balanced,
yes,
beautiful from head to toe. Yeah. And I watched her interacting with other people, and I saw she was beautiful from the inside as well. But I tell you, the heels she was in, and the fact that she was comfortable and gracefully walking around, just told me that, God, you're so good to some people. Why don't we?
It's like she works out.
It's like you see me in heels now.
And you think, oh.
But do you know that I will not wear this a whole day? Never. I'll pick my time. I have a pair of slippers in my bag. I have a pair of slippers in my bag.
Once she steps in the car, she's got her flag.
I'm telling you.
No, that's true.
So it's being organized.
Yes.
It's planning.
And gracefulness.
Yes, grace.
Knowing when.
Grace.
But do you fear grace? I see.
Do I know? But before now...
Use
I
your mom
couldn't
as an
wait
example. Your mom is...
Yes, my mom is so active and full of life and, you know, like, you're just living her best life and doing... You know, it was her birthday 2 weeks ago and I wanted to take her out and she was like, oh no, we can't do that another day. I'm going to hang with my girls. I felt so slighted. Like, I'm telling you that I want to use my money to take you out. You know, but then I was happy to see that even at this age, she was able to say, you know, I'm going to hang with my girls and just do their thing, you know. And before now, I really want
to go back to that point she made about wanting to take her mother out.
Yeah.
Because that's very important as you age.
Yeah, and before now, I couldn't wait to grow up. Like, just so I have freedom, just so I could do, like, be an adult. When you go out, they'll be like, oh, yes. When you want to go for events, they'll say 18 and above and things like that. But now, you know, I couldn't wait to be an adult in all the full sense of it. But now, I just want to be here. Like, I just want to be this age, just always be happy to say, you know, I'm 21. And they'll be like, oh, my God.
So I think that's the key, really, to be happy wherever you are. And I think that's what Rosie tried to communicate as well. Be happy. If you're 55, be happy. But I would say, remember that you won't always be 55. And put as much as you can in that time, which brings you to the...
The point, you know, she made, which is wonderful. I say to people, as you age, get a life. Get a life. Her mother just made her realize that she had a life. She has a life. And there is nothing that exudes confidence than, as you age, not clinging.
So what do you think happens? We just get lost in our children
and insist
and
that our
work.
children need to pander to us all the time, and we moan about being abandoned, and this person... This morning, I called a young friend. I said, you just occurred to me. And she said, oh, Auntie, I don't want to call you all the time. So it's not like I'm disturbing you. I said, disturb me all you want. However, all these young people that surround me means that my children can see that I have a life. And so, once in a while, when I say, can you arrange a show for you and I to go, they know I'm not clinging.
No, but you know, what I think,
so
though,
get a life.
What I think, though, there'll come a time in our lives where we'll have to depend on them. I mean, my mother is 85. I have to get her to have a bath. And I can't understand why, you know, it just reminds me of what the Bible says about at some point in time, people will leave you to where you don't want to go. So I keep telling her, Mom, when I was young, you made me have a bath 3 times. Now I'm just asking you to have a bath once a day. You know, there has to be somebody.
There comes old age. That's old age.
I'm also thinking, as we're speaking, I'm just thinking about the fact that without being clingy or imposing, there's so much we can bring to the world.
When you say we,
mentoring.
When you say we,
are you moving away from me because I'm older than you?
She said she doesn't want that we to
see where I am.
To include her.
Okay, young one.
Okay, young one.
Mentoring, sponsoring others.
Yes.
Leveraging our network to bring relevance to others, because it does come back to you. And I think that's one of the things we probably don't do enough of. You do it if you've been maybe in corporate or in a certain position where you've had people around you all the time. But there are different types of life. And
so even in our social lives?
In our social lives, don't impose, because some people can be, they can be almost intimidating with their age. But
don't
then
you know
where you have a general affinity, try and speak into other people's lives. Try and show them the way. Sponsor them in a way that, oh, have you met so-and-so? She's really good at...
Okay, so it goes back to what Hattie says, it's what you give. As we get older...
She says you make a living from what you get, but you make a life from what you give.
So because as we get older, life begins to stare us and we begin to give. I think it would be good for us to see, I want what and it speaks to what you're trying to say, is old chronological. I want all of us to respond to that quickly as we...
Old is not chronological because I have an 80-year-old girlfriend that I have lunch with regularly, and I know everything that happened in her life, and she helps me, like you say, giving back. you know, giving back, you
She
get
helps
the
you
impression
navigate.
that you have to be financially good. No, she is giving back into my life because she tells me, Fumi, there's nothing new. In 1940-something, when we came back from England, then she tells me the story, and I think...
So she helps you to navigate the path of aging. What about you? Is it chronology or is it...
I don't think so as well. I think, like I said, youthfulness, it's in the mind. It's how your perception...
I wonder if Rosie thinks differently.
I think a number of things. I think it's partly in the mind. It's partly physical. It's partly chronology. But in all of that is, who are you as a person? Who do you want to be?
So, well, like we say, there's never enough time to talk about this on the air. But the truth is, we've all given our points and our perspectives. And the good thing is we can continue the conversations on social media. Hashtag TW Conversations is there. But meanwhile, Fumi has insisted that we can't go away without talking about taking care of the old. So at the end of the day, it's a function of all of us doing our own bits at different stages in life. When you're at your age, you think you know it all. But when you get to that level, there's more. When we're at our age, we think it's past, we're past it, and we're worried that you won't accept us. But at the end of the day, we need each other, right?
Yeah.
So ladies, one last word. What would it be?
No, start with Rosie. I'm trying to get my thoughts together.
Look at the young. Last thoughts.
I think the noise in my head is that where we have children, we're more forgiving of our children in their reactions to us than we are of other people that we meet in their reaction to older people.
So what's the lesson in that?
So mine is always play it through and think, if my child was at that age, how would I help them up? How would I react to what they're doing or saying? So
and not
that
take it personally.
Let's not take it personally. Let's open up to others and let them have a play in our life, and let's be playful.
Okay, 2 points. I go back to the point about old. In the past, in our tradition, nobody was afraid of getting old because they were looked after. They continued to be part of the community. Now we can ensure we're not afraid by preparing for it, by making sure that we do things that will keep us relevant and playful right to the end.
So I think my generation should stop being a loner. They should try to, reach out more, connect more with our parents and our older ones. Try to do things. Call. We should reach out more.
And I just say, not like the Yoruba say.
No, don't.
It's not a curse. But it's a blessing, because I'm happy when my kids do. I say, well, they will have
when
kids.
They do good things.
Yes, when they do, they will see it. When they are not understanding and they eventually get understanding, they would know. But the truth is, age will come, whether we like it or not, because our body parts will go to departure lounge. But if we take Fumi's advice of staying fit and trying hard, at least you extend the quality of life that you have, whether you are old or young. We'll see you again next week, hopefully, on the show. Continue the conversations online, and bye from the girls in the lounge. Bye. Mwah, mwah.
On Plus News now, Justice Olukayode Ariwola replaces Justice Ibrahim Tanko, takes oath of office as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Nigerian Bar Association urges acting CJN to prioritize judicial reform. NDLEA intercepts over 3,000 kilograms of illicit substances within 1 year. Good evening, I'm Loretta Chiogo. Thanks for joining us on News Now. Justice Olukayode Ariwola of the Supreme Court has taken the oath of office as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari administered the oath of office on Justice Ariwola earlier in the day. This development is coming after Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad's resignation amid allegations of corruption. The Transition Monitoring Group TMG believes Justice Muhammad's resignation as a CJN shows that the judicial system is due for reform. TMG Chairman Awal Musa Rafsanjani commends Muhammad's courage to resign, adding that it is time for the system to undergo fundamental restructuring. In the same vein, the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA Olumide Akpata, wants the acting CJN, Justice Ariwola, to reform the nation's judiciary and restore public confidence in the third arm of government. In a statement while reacting to Justice Muhammad's resignation, he pledged the readiness of the bar to work with Justice Ariwola in cleansing the Ujin stable and in addressing the ills that have continued to plague not just the judiciary, but the entire legal profession. The foremost prosecutors of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Wahab Shitu and Rotimi Oyedepo, were among the 129 lawyers shortlisted by the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee, LPPC, for the conferment of the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN, in 2022. In a statement accompanying the list made by the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court, Hajo Sarki Bello, disclosed that the shortlist comprised candidates who passed through the advocate filtration stages and academic pre-qualification exercise. The Federal High Court sitting in Akure, Ondo State, has adjourned till the 13th of July the hearing of the suit seeking fresh conduct of primary election into the Akoko Southeast-Southwest Federal Constituency. This is due to the non-representation for the defendants, former Ondo Commissioner Boyega Adefarati and APC Chairman Ade Adetimei. The prosecuting counsel, Shola Ajisafe, told newsmen that the defendants had been duly served and wondered why they failed to appear. The petitioner, Babatunde Adeneke, is seeking correction to the alleged illegality in the conduct of the APC primary election into the Akoko Southeast-Southwest Federal House of Representatives seat.
Well, it's in respect of illegal, invalid, and void way of doing things. An election, a primary of the party was supposed to have taken place somewhere. And at St. Patrick's Secondary School, Iwaro, Akoko, for the House of Representatives for Akoko Southeast Southwest, which never took place. Instead for it to take place there, the powers that be, or I don't know, however, they took it to the Dome in Akure, which is in gross violation of both the Electoral Act, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and equally the APC Constitution and guidelines.
Who paid the nominated and interest fee of 10 million naira, can pay, spend money, but the election was never allowed to hold. I did the needful by putting my petition across to the party set up appeal committee. The appeal committee received my petition and sat, they got the oral evidence and ordered that there was no primary election in my constituency. Therefore, They fixed another date, which was about 2 Thursdays ago. I think on the 7th, if I can remember.
The newly appointed Assistant Inspector General of Police AIG in charge of Zone 17 comprising Ondo and Ekiti states, Mohammed Akira, has promised that his command would synergize with other security agencies to reduce crime in the states. Addressing officers and men of the zone during his maiden address, Akira assured of his commitment to rid the zone of all forms of crimes and criminality. He urged members of the public to partner with the police at all times to be on the same page in securing the zone.
The ugly incident that happened in Owa and the other area within the western axis is nip on the bud. And security is a collective effort. Nobody can do it all. So we need to synergize with other sister agencies to make sure that the entire citizenry of this place can have peace of mind and go about their respective.
Police authorities in Imo State have arrested one of the suspected killers of a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress APC, Ahmed Gulak. The public relations officer of Imo State Police Command, Mike Abatam, said that the suspect, identified as Anosike Chimobi from Ahiazu Mbise local government area of the state, was apprehended 1 year after Gulak's death. Gulak, a former aide of former President Goodluck Jonathan, was murdered by a group of armed men on May 30th, 2021 during a visit to Imo State.
When he was picked in the course of interrogation, he confessed being a member of the proscribed peoples of indigenous peoples of Biafra and this armed affiliate. He equally revealed that himself and his gang members were the ones who murdered Dr. Ahmed Gulak on 30th May 2021. He equally made the command to know that his commander, one Ebube, who is still at large and the command is on his trail, was the one who recruited him into IPOB.
The People's Democratic Party's governorship candidate for Benue State and Speaker of the State Assembly, Titus Uba, has charged the Ndigbo community to rise up and challenge the killing of Christians and the burning of worship centers in the country. Our correspondent, Francis Ter, filed in this report presented from our studios.
Aspirant says the Igbo nation is the greatest Christian community in the black nation, and as such, plays a vital role in curbing the killings of Christians in the country.
The entire country is watching us, Christians, being slaughtered in our churches. And one person that this country is looking up to as Christians is the Igbo nation. The Igbo nation needs to rise up. When you rise, when the minority Christian community will rise, and the killing of justice will stop.
The Benue State Commissioner for Land and Survey, Bernard Unenge, who represented Governor Samuel Ortom, thanked the Igbos for their support and contributions to the economic and infrastructural development of the state through their businesses. He encouraged the Southeasterners to continue to agitate for the leadership of the country and promised the state's government support for the construction of the Imo Civic Center as a mark of appreciation.
At this occasion, it is his desire that what your hearts are yearning for, which is the Civic Center, will be achieved. He also asks that you should continue to live the lives, peaceful lives you are living in this state, and continue to do your businesses so that the state and indeed the country will grow.
Earlier, one of the leaders of the Imo Day Celebration Committee expressed his satisfaction with the hospitality of the Benue community.
Because we spend much of our time in Benue. So the civic center we are planning to do is a wonderful one. And by special grace of God, with what I have seen the chief launcher have done, and our incoming governor 2023 have shown to us that we are sitting very tight and we will continue waxing harder.
The high point of the occasion was the presentation of the Meritorious Award to the governor as a dogged defender of the Benue Valley and the Parliamentary Excellence Award to the speaker.
And from Benue to Bayelsa State, where the Chief of Administration, Naval Headquarters Abuja, Rear Admiral Jason Bassa, has cautioned youth against the quick money syndrome. Rear Admiral Bassa mentioned that to be successful, youth should be ready to pass through the grinding process. He called on parents to take up the responsibility of molding their children to be useful to the society and themselves.
Senior officers and men of the Western, Eastern and Central Commands of the Nigerian Navy are joined by men of the Nigerian Air Force and Army for the final burial rites of Margaret Perry here in Ibedi community in Kolokuma local government area of Bayelsa State. She is said to have touched life positively, and the Chief of Administration, Naval Headquarters Abuja, is one of them. Bassa highlights the essence of good parenting and enjoins parents to play their part in raising children who are useful to the country. Young persons are also advised to heed wise counsel.
Do not turn your back on counsel. Wise counsel, that is to get rich. There's no way it works. You will make the money, but you will crash. You have to go through the meal, through the process. You can't just make it overnight. You have to go through the pain. To every parent, it is a duty for us to guide and raise our children first in the knowledge and fear of God. Secondly, set them on the right path with education. Pursue education with all passion, because it is slow, but that is the only sure way the poor man breaks the ceiling.
The deceased is described as a shoulder to lean on.
She's got my back. She had my back through thick and thin. She was a prayer warrior. She's a woman I could look back on. Now I can be sure that I'm going to the office, there's somebody kneeling somewhere calling my name before God. There was a special relationship with her, especially for my children's sake. We will sorely miss her. She was a special woman.
She was very kind. She's a very neat woman. Mama is a very neat,
a very wonderful in-law,
and she's very
of
caring.
Mommy,
Her demise has created a vacuum in my heart that can never be filled.
In her own way, she has touched life. When we talk about making impact in life, does not mean that you must have the money that is required or you must be wealthy. You can use your strength to make impact.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has disclosed that 145 suspected drug dealers are being prosecuted in various courts in Rivers State. The state commander of the NDLEA in the state, Dr. Ahmed Mahmouda, spoke during a sensitization campaign to commemorate this year's International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital.
As part of its campaign in the fight against drug abuse and substance use in the country, the Rivers State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, in collaboration with some civil society organizations and pharmacists, staged a sensitization awareness campaign from the street to the Rivers State University campus on the need to end the ugly menace against the youth. Speaking with newsmen, Mahmouda said that the level of drug abuse and illicit trafficking in Nigeria had become worrisome and needed concerted efforts by all groups in the society to sensitize the public on the danger.
You can see the problem of the drug abuse in Nigeria just within 6 months now. Then we have seized almost 277.239 kilograms of various illicit substances in the state.
Executive Director of Right Man Leaders Network, John Best, and other stakeholders urge youth in the state to shun illicit drugs, saying that as future leaders, they should not allow drugs to destroy their brain or health.
Young people believe that the way out of this crisis is to indulge in drugs, is to take something to cool off and all of that. But we're here to tell them that no, by the time you take this thing, it never helps matters. It worsens matters and all of that, right? If some person take drugs to reduce stress and all of that.
We put up the health fair where they can come and have free health checks. You have BP, BMI, blood sugar, hemoglobin, malaria tests, hepatitis B test as well. So it's always good to know your health status in order to live a better life.
We're actually fighting against the illicit use of drugs. That's why we are here. We reach out to the young ones, the ones that are really mad by these illicit behaviors too, taking illicit drugs like marijuana and the rest of them that are very, very harmful to their system. And we have come to the partnership with Right Minds to make sure they use their minds rightly to stay away from these drugs too.
Leadership Challenge Foundation is here today collaborating with NDLA to engage the minds of the youth and to let them know that there is no good in drug abuse. Drug abuse cannot do any youth any good. Rather, when they are engaged with their hands, engaged with their minds, then there won't be room for drug abuse.
Mahmouda reaffirmed that the command under his watch has determined to ward off traffickers from the state with the active support of the Rivers State government and some community members. He encouraged citizens to rise up and defend themselves against drug abuse, which according to him is the factor behind violence and insecurity that seem to have taken over the country at the moment.
Also, the NDLEA unit in Adamawa State has disclosed that it intercepted over 3,000 kilograms of assorted illicit substances within 1 year. The commandant of the agency, Femi Agwalu, assured the public of the command's readiness to wipe out drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking in the state and beyond.
We have, through the deployment of intelligence, cracked a notorious cartel headed by a deadly baron who masterminded mob actions that killed our officer and maimed one another 2 years ago in Hong local government of Adamawa State. We have also treated, counseled, and rehabilitated 40 male residential clients and 1 female. Another 120 male trafficking clients and 12 females were also counseled on the inherent dangers in the consumption of drugs in the period under review.
Adamawa State government has promised to work hand in hand with the NDLEA for a serious fight against drug abuse in order to ensure a crime-free society.
I'm aware of the milestone achievement of the NDLEA as recorded under the current state commander, Commander Femi Samson Abdolu. This is no doubt reflect the vigor rejected into war against drug criminality in Nigeria by Chairman and Chief Executive of NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammadu Buba Marwa. Today's occasion has reaffirmed the importance and commitment of the United Nations, the federal government of Nigeria, and indeed the Adamawa State, collective engagement toward eradicating the ugly trend of illicit drug activities in the society.
The Abuja-Kaduna Railway Fencing Subcontractors Association have protested the non-payment of the 500 million debt owed them by Dukes Projects Limited since 2018. The association spokesman Onyeka Enechukwu called on the federal government to intervene on the issue, as some of their members were in jail due to the non-payment of loans they collected. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has directed all privately run rehabilitation shelters and homes for trafficked persons nationwide to obtain clearance certificates within the next 30 days or risk shutdown. According to the head press and public relations, Stella Nathan, the ultimatum, which takes effect from Wednesday, June 29th, was handed down by the Director General, Dr. Fatima Waziri Azi, at the weekend at a meeting with a segment of the agency's stakeholders. Organized labor in Ogun State has commenced an indefinite strike over the state government's refusal to meet their demand after a 7-day ultimatum. Addressing the workers in Abeokuta, the state's capital, the chairman of the Trade Union Congress, Akim Lasisi, maintained that the union had used all its strategies and now left with no other option.
Workers of government, by the close of work today, the salary for the month of June is also due. Am I correct? Yes. So 21 months was at the last letter written by organized labor. Today we have 22 months, except and unless when the salary is paid. Secondly, we call attention of government to issue of contributory pension. They have been deducting from salaries of workers. Government is not remitting. Are you still interested in contributory pension? In November 2020, September 2020, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Labour and the Ogun State government. When you look at the clause 5 on that MOU, it states clearly that other demands of Labour will be subject of joint review in March 2021. Are we meant to do any review? All schools, all hospitals, all local government, all ministries, all parastatals, all agencies. Making a decision that is binding on all of us. And the decision is that we are embarking on indefinite strike. If that is our decision, it means that from 12 midnight to 9, látọ̀rú èní lọ, kónílégbélé, nobody is expected at work tomorrow.
And in Lagos will continue to provide the space and ambience for all, irrespective of race, religion, creed, or political coloration. These were words from Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu while delivering his speech at World Refugees Day Symposium. Our correspondent Love Ikuko Yedoko has more.
The occasion is a signing of the declaration of Lagos as one of the cities with refugees. The arrival of Governor Sanwo-Olu and his team sets the tone for the event. This year, the theme for the World Refugee Day is whoever, whatever, whenever, everyone has a right to seek safety, which means that every refugee should be welcomed and treated with dignity regardless of birthplace, origin, race, or religion. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu could not agree less. He strongly believes that refugee issues would be completely relegated if everyone outlived their differences.
Refugees are not the problem. We here are the problem, including myself. We, the senators, your leaders, your community heads, who refuse to agree to whatever form of disputes might occur. Because indeed there will be dispute, there will be disagreement. But normally what usually should happen is that in whatever form of disagreement, we must be able to resolve them. Because indeed not resolving them leads to issues of war, strife, and we can see all of the displacement. And so people that are seeking, those refuge are not the problem, but we that are in position, that we need to listen to ourselves, understand, that we're the same coin, we're probably just seeing the coin from different sides.
The submission of the governor interprets the worries of the representatives of UNCHR in Nigeria, Chansa Kampaya. She's worried about what the future holds for the number of children born into a life of exile as a result of conflicts.
May 23rd, 2022, the world reached a devastating milestone that should have never been crossed. For the first time in history, over 100 million people were displaced globally. This 1.3% of the world's population have been forced to flee their homes to escape conflict, war, persecution, or disaster. What will their futures hold? What opportunities will they have to achieve their potential?
The Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, represented by the Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Imam Ibrahim Suleiman, disclosed that Nigeria has one of the best hospitable environments for refugees to operate in the face of increasing daily influx of asylum-seeking migrants.
Presently, Nigeria is host to 84,000 refugees and asylum seekers. Cross River State alone hosts 41,000 of them. Most of the refugees reside in Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Taraba, Benue, Lagos State, Kano, and Borno State. Meanwhile, there's about 320 Nigerian refugees spread in Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. The signing of the Declaration of Lagos as cities with refugee by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, is a defining moment with global significance.
World Refugee Day celebrates the strength and courage of people who have been forced to leave their home country to escape conflict, terror, or persecution. From Lagos, Love Ikuku Oyedoku, Plus TV News.
Still ahead, over 30 villagers killed in Western Cameroon attack. Details when we return.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
You're welcome back. And other parts of Africa, a rival ethnic group has killed at least 30 villagers, including women and children, in Western Cameroon. A spokesman for the Presbyterian Church of Cameroon, Reverend Funky Foba, said that the massacre was carried out in the village of Bankinjor, a few kilometers from the Nigerian border. The tragedy between the Oliti and Misaga Eko ethnic groups broke out in the southwest region, one of Cameroon's two English-speaking regions, where a deadly conflict has been raging for more than 5 years between armed separatist groups and the police. Meanwhile, Human Rights Watch has accused rebels in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon of committing serious human rights violations. In a report, the watch pointed to the increase in violence since January. The northwest and north and southwest regions have been the scene of a deadly 5-year conflict between armed groups demanding independence for a state they call Ambazonia. Sudan has said it would recall its ambassador to Addis Ababa, accusing Ethiopian army of executing 7 of its soldiers and a civilian taken prisoner, and it has vowed to retaliate the act. The Sudanese army accused Ethiopian army of executing 7 of its soldiers and a citizen in an act that contravenes all conventions of war and international law. Sudanese's foreign ministry also accused that the man had been abducted on the 22nd of June in Sudanese's territory and taken to Ethiopia. A youth group, Arise Ghana, is set to begin a historic 2-day demonstration in the capital city of Accra. The demonstration is to protest the hike in fuel price and the harsh economic conditions imposed on Ghanaians by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led administration, according to the people. The communications officer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Sami Gyamfi, had said the protest was also to oppose the imposition of the controversial electronic levy and demand a probe into the COVID-19 expenditure. Outside Africa, firefighters scrambled to put out a huge fire at a shopping center in central Ukrainian city of Kremenchuk. Senior Ukrainian officials said a Russian missile strike hit the building, killing at least 2 people and wounding 20. More than 1,000 people were said to be in the shopping center at the time of the attack. Meanwhile, the United Nations spokesman Stefan Dujarric has said that the United Nations is concerned about the intensifying fighting in Ukraine and the deplorable attack on a shopping mall. Dujarric described it as deplorable and that any sort of infrastructure, which includes shopping malls, should never ever be targeted.
Moldova fully supports the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders. Donbass is Ukraine. Kherson and Mariupol are Ukraine. Crimea is Ukraine. By fighting for their freedom, Ukrainians fight for the freedom of your neighbors in Europe.
And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has asked for anti-aircraft defense systems, more sanctions on Russia, and security guarantees as he addressed leaders of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and United Kingdom, and the United States. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the global economic fallout, such as soaring energy and food prices, have dominated this year's summit of the leaders of the G7 countries.
The logic of the position is still so clear. There is no deal that the President Zelensky can really do. So in those circumstances, the G7 supporters of Ukraine around the world have to continue to help the Ukrainians to rebuild their economy, to get their grain out, to export their grain. And of course, we have to help them to protect themselves. And that's what we're going to continue to do.
Discussing all the topics that are on the agenda, especially staying united in supporting the Ukraine against the Russian aggression. And we understood that the policies of all our countries are very much aligned. And this is, I think, the good message, that we are taking tough decisions, that we are also cautious, that we will help the Ukraine as much as is possible, but that we also avoid that there will be a big conflict between Russia and NATO. And this is what is of essence, to be tough and thinking about the necessities of the time we are living in.
The logic of the position is still so clear. There is no deal that the President Zelensky can really do.
Protesters in southern Germany have taken part in a cycle protest against the G7 summit, as about 60 cyclists drove from Garmisch, Partenkirchen and Kleis, about 5 kilometers from Castle Elmau, the site of the summit. The protesters said the central demand was for them to take realistic, human-friendly and environmentally protective measures to combat hunger. The group of 7 is meeting for their annual 3-day summit in southern Germany, with the war in Ukraine and the resulting global food insecurities being the main topics on the agenda. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said that the Parliament could pass a legislation this year to scrap some of the rules on post-Brexit trade with Northern Ireland that his government agreed in 2020 with the European Union. The legislation, which would unilaterally replace part of that bilateral deal known as the Northern Ireland Protocol, is due to be sent back to Parliament's lower house for a second reading. That is one of the stages of the law's passage through the legislature. Speaking at a G7 meeting in Bavaria ahead of a planned virtual address by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Johnson also said that leaders at the summit continue to be united in their support for Ukraine.
And what's really struck me in the last couple of days has been the amazing consistency of our resolve, the continuing unity of the G7. That was
really, there aren't divisions under the surface.
Absolutely shone through in the conversation over the last couple of days. And I think there's a reason for that. The logic of the position is still so clear. There is no deal that the President Zelensky can really do. So in those circumstances, the G7 supporters of Ukraine around the world have to continue to help the Ukrainians to rebuild their economy, to get their grain out, to export their grain, and of course we have to help them to protect themselves.
We simply cannot allow this situation to drift. Northern Ireland has been without a devolved government since February, due specifically to the protocol, at a time of major global economic challenges. We've identified what the practical problems are for the people of Northern Ireland, and we have come up with solutions that address those problems whilst protecting the EU single market. And it is our expectation that the passage of this bill will result in the institutions being re-established.
Up next, World Bank says fuel shortage, inflation will weaken Nigeria's growth. That's in business news after this short break.
Hello and welcome to Business News. I am Olamide Adeyemi. The World Bank says fuel shortage and rising inflation will likely restrain economic growth in Nigeria. It said this in the June 2022 edition of its Global Economic Prospect Report. The financial institution had projected that Nigeria's economy will grow by 3.4% in 2022, but decline to 3.2% in 2023 and 2024. For the first quarter of 2022, the National Bureau of Statistics reported a 3.11% growth, which is still less than the World Bank's growth projection for Nigeria. The lenders said the growth in Nigeria's economy will be driven by elevated oil prices, recovery in agriculture and manufacturing, and structural reforms. Now, Dangote Industries has opened an application list to raise up to 300 billion naira in medium-term debt funding from the Nigerian capital market to finance the Dangote Petroleum Refinery being built in Lagos and due for completion in the next quarter of next year. The firm, through a special purpose vehicle fund, is offering 2 tranches of bonds to raise up to 150 billion naira, with a provision to scale up to the full size of 300 billion naira registered bond issuance program. The book building register for prospective investors for the 300 billion naira bond issuance is scheduled to close on Thursday. Moving on, Nigeria exchange rate volatility is being compounded by rising inflation, interest rate hike, and slow economic growth despite the interventions by the Central Bank of Nigeria. President Association of the Read the Change Operators of Nigeria, Aminu Gwadabe, said in Lagos at the weekend. Gwadabe said the unfolding scenarios risk of stagflation with potentially harmful consequences for the poor within the economy. He said that already global growth is expected to slump from 5.7% in 2021 to 2.9% in 2022, significantly lower than 4.1% predicted by the International Monetary Fund in January. Moving on, the Security and Exchange Commission says the licensed financial technology companies will enhance speedy financial inclusion in Nigeria as well as protect investment in the sector. Director General of the SEC, Lamido Yuguda, said this while addressing participants at the inaugural conference of Oriental News Nigeria the weekend. Yuguda assured that with the support of fast-growing fintech penetration in the financial systems, more Nigerians will be captured and protected to effectively navigate challenges in the financial systems, capital markets, and insurance through enabling system and processes. A reiterated commitment to ensure that every segment of the society is covered and more Nigerians captured in the ongoing digitalization exercise. And that's all on business news. The news continues.
And up next is entertainment news.
Star actress Kemi Afolabi has taken to her Instagram page to refute claims that she attended Christ Embassy for healing after someone shared a photo of a woman receiving prayers from the senior pastor, Chris Oyakilome. She said she had paid no attention to it because she didn't see visiting a church or getting prayers from a pastor as a bad thing, as she believes we all serve the same God. It will be recalled that the movie star had dropped a bombshell about her health in March, saying she had just 5 more years to live. The International Committee of All African Music Awards, AFRIMA, is reminding all artists, music professionals, and other relevant stakeholders within Africa and across the diaspora to submit their entries for the 2022 AFRIMA edition before the portal closes on the 5th of August 2022. According to AFRIMA juror representing Diaspora Northern America, Hadija Kobale Kaita, speaking from Washington, D.C., United States of America, the awards platform would not extend the submission date beyond the set date. She further revealed that the process will undergo thorough independent scrutiny to guarantee its credibility. Audiomack, the artist's first music streaming and discovery platform, and Universal Music Group, UMG, the world's leader in music-based entertainment, has announced a new licensing agreement to make UMG content available to Audiomack subscribers across Africa, the United Kingdom, and Canada. The agreement expands on the previously signed licensing agreement between Audiomack and UMG for the US. With the new expansive agreement, a curated selection of UMG content is now available for Audiomack users in 16 African countries: Algeria, Benin, Cameroon, Congo, Egypt, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Kenya, Mali, Morocco, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, as well as the UK and Canada. Nigerian singing sensation Tems made history at the 2022 BET Awards when she became the first African female to win the Best International category. Tems had a great 2021 with her contributions to Wizkid Essence, earning her wide international acclaim. Tems also appeared on Drake's Certified Lover Boy album, which further proved her status as one of Nigeria's biggest international exports. With her win at the 2022 BET Awards, Tems joins Ice Prince, Wizkid, Davido, and Burna Boy as Nigerians who have won the BET Awards. A new look teaser at forthcoming historical epic drama The Woman King has debuted at Sunday's BET Awards. The film, loosely based on Dahome's Warrior of modern-day Benin Republic Star Academy winner Viola Davis in the lead role with Dana Steves as a writer and film director Gina Prince by The Wood helming the production. The Woman King follow a fictional story of the Dahomey tribe fight against colonialism in the 18th and 19th century. The newly launched clip teases Davis in striking stunts and spearheading a war against European invasion.
And the main news again. Justice Olukayode Ariwola takes oath of office as acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. NBA President urges acting CJN Ariwola to prioritize judicial reform. And over 30 villagers killed in a Western Cameroon attack. That's news now. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I'm Loretta Chiogo. Many thanks for watching and have a wonderful night rest. Good night.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Our growing-up memories are often fragments, brief moments, or a canter, which together form the scrapbook of our life. There we derive the wisdom and knowledge, so deep that they cannot be wished away. My name is Professor Deji Fashui, and here are my good old days reminiscences. Although I was born in Akure, Ondo State, my dad, Chief Gabriel Oluwadare Fashui, hailed from Ilogbo Ekiti, Ido-Osi local government area of Ekiti State, and Mom, Florence Idowu Fashui ni Afolabi from Ado Ekiti. Dad retired as the program manager of Ondo State Agric Development Program, while Mom retired as a senior matron in various government hospitals in Ondo State and later Ekiti State. As the second child of 6, growing up was beautiful as we were categorized among children of the elites in a completely egalitarian society where civil service was a leveler and devoid of the present commonplace of bribery and corruption. In those days, anyone living beyond his means was immediately ostracized and seen as a leper by the community. Only permanent secretaries could ride Mercedes and Volvo cars. The saving grace for a lot of public civil servants then was the Udoji Lajes. My mom was one of the beneficiaries. As a nurse, she was able to buy her first car, a Datsun 180K, sometimes in 1975. Prior to that period, the whole family had to make do with my father's Peugeot 504, and of course, a manually driven car. Don't just start imagining how the whole family will cramp themselves up in that car for a family outing. Yet, we were generally contented and there was dignity in labor. In those good old days, education was compulsory and largely free at primary school level for everyone in the southwestern part of Nigeria, including Akure, where I grew up. There was no class discrimination or distinction in schooling, as virtually all schools were government-owned. I remember with nostalgia that my parents decided to allow us go to St. James's Primary School barefooted like other children, not because they couldn't afford the shoes, but because we must not be different from other pupils. I ended up becoming the senior prefect of the primary school, representing the school in various debates and quiz competitions frequently organized by government at the time. I left St. James's Primary School for the prestigious Christ School Ado Ekiti, where I had the greatest foundation and molding, like many other peers at that time. Those days in Christ School Ado Ekiti afforded us the opportunity of meeting colleagues from different ethnic groups in Nigeria, especially those from the eastern and midwestern part of Nigeria. We cultivated their cultures and found a blended